Someone, somehow, created virtual reality. It was known all over the world. The conquest of the elite monster in the Escalon nest begins. Escalon is one of the monster birds that lives on Newbie Island. While the tank is distracted, the partner should prepare a strong attack. This way, the tank will keep aggro on itself. While the partner is not visible to the NPC, he will change position and attack. So, excluding trash mobs, they finished attacking the elite mob on the Newbie Island together. Trash probably won't be able to be killed, but someday, if you liked it, give it a like. And don't forget to click the bell. Our hero watched a tutorial on how to kill the monster. And he said, I knew it. I'll have to buy a tank. Sunny was with him, level 4. John was also level 4, and he talked about how weak he was. Sunny just laughed and said that he had to endure it. John told Nuna not to laugh. He doesn't like that the game is realistic. Together they decided to find a partner. But Kumi the bear said that he could handle it on his own. William, level 15, stated that he does not hang out with children. The scarab, without question, also refused them. Sadly, will be refused by the insect. In general, no one wanted to join them. Nuna suggested finding someone of their level, or help people of the first level, and then accept them into the group. John really liked this idea, and together they went off to look for people. They found someone of the first level, even the same age. If you assess the situation correctly, you can lure him to you. But they saw a pitiful picture. The guy was crying from the blows of the soft slimes. But you can play his heroes. John went out and killed the slimes, and he immediately offered to join their group. It seemed like the guy wanted to join them, but John didn't hear an answer. John asked again for an answer. The guy nodded. Then John decided to talk to Nuna. He wanted to discuss it with Sunny. John said that it seemed like the guy couldn't talk. They were worried that it would be difficult to conduct a dialogue, although during registration, people with disabilities were promised treatment. But Sunny said they shouldn't discriminate against such people. John shouted, of course, he was just asking her opinion. They returned to the guy, and John introduced Nuna. They promised to teach him what he didn't know. After all, it's much more interesting to play together, and so their joint hunt began. He swung with eagerness. It was more like child's play. Monsters that were killed by simple slimes did not gain much experience. But the level went up. Nuna decided to find items, and John wanted to teach the guy some techniques. He taught the boy how to open the inventory, just like in other games. For every level up, he is given 1 experience point. He has a sword, so it's better to increase his strength. Promisingly, John was looking forward to seeing how strong he would become. The strength hasn't increased much, but there's no need to worry about it. John asked why the guy started playing this game, KG. He himself started playing to make money, but playing is also fun. John said that he played to earn money for university. Nuna, compared to John, plays for fun. John laughed awkwardly, deciding that the guy would be uncomfortable answering. So I said he didn't have to answer, when suddenly the guy spoke. Although he mumbled, he said, John seems incredible, playing with a purpose. He simply heard from people and started playing, for comparison. John was more surprised that the guy could talk. He started screaming. Why didn't he say anything during the whole hour of walking with them? It was creepy. The guy replied that he was often told that he was mumbling, and that it would be better for him to remain silent altogether. John felt sorry for him when he imagined his daily life. Nuna, a kind soul, took his hands and said that with them he could feel at ease. By talking and playing with them, he will definitely change for the better. Then she asked John to give him a good weapon. He's still on their team, and it wouldn't hurt him to get stronger. John knew that Nuna was kind. He was used to it, and with a sigh he agreed. They decided to get to the village and told the guy to sit here quietly. Or he catches a couple of slimes, the guys leave, and the guy is lost in thought. They just met, and they are so kind to him. Why? Do they really have any interest in him? No, that's not true. The guy told himself to focus on the task at hand and not to fantasize. He swung his hand and noticed that the stone broke from the light blow of his hand. His characteristics just increased. And the guys will only now realize that they didn't even find out the guy's name. John asked if Nuna knew how to view user information. Nuna replied that if he wasn't covering his face, then maybe she had seen his real name. Suddenly a woman came and said that these were the kids who invited her to the group. John asked what the 15th level was doing here. Miss answered, a hobby. Then John decided that she was killing players, and that there was no punishment for that. You can even die. That's the game for you. People can kill each other and nothing will happen. Nuna got nervous and said, this is not the best idea. Miss reminded the guys. They are also level 5. While they haven't seen each other, the kids have become stronger. But Miss said they could relax. She wouldn't kill the children. I would like to say so, said Miss before plunging the knife into Nuna. And then she said, frankly speaking, she killed children and younger ones. John wanted revenge and prepared to attack, but he didn't notice how he lost his arm. And Miss said, looking at how John was shaking, she could assume that he didn't kill anyone in the game. But there will be many such events ahead, Nuna asked. It hurt. Why? Miss said it just like that. It's a game. No matter what she does, she won't be bad. The kids were dead. 2 hours had passed and no one had come. And Sean decided he had been abandoned. And it turns out Sean is our main character. The name of this game is Cell. To play you need a car, which can be bought. Aliens have begun to populate the world, and there are rumors that some races have advantages. But it doesn't matter, because Sean has already paid for a month's subscription. And here are some tips for beginners. How to get off the island. They will learn about it in this post. There are 2 ways. The first way is to kill the boss and get an achievement token. The second way is to kill 15 players and get an achievement token. And as you can understand, many greedy guys choose the second method. Naive Sean believed that killing players was overkill and he would never do it. Sean wanted to kill the boss, but he was told it was impossible. He was weak. He hadn't even reached level 15. Why did he level up his intelligence and luck if he fights with a sword? Everything was mixed up. Sean looked at him with displeasure, and for this he was cursed. Our hero fell into despair again. He said that, just like in reality, he remains a loser. He began to believe that people were right when they called him a loser. Is it really necessary to be so angry he also has feelings? Although they are right. Sean decided to reach level 15 first, where he met those guys. The guy said everything should go smoothly. They looked at the walkthrough. William said that this was the 3rd time he had done this. Min said that he needed to do his homework. They had to hurry. Tai said the whole thing was complete nonsense. And Sean was upset to learn that they had taken a child instead of him. The child said that he heard about the Reaper. She is an alien who stayed here herself. Just to kill noobs, he himself hasn't seen her yet. Tai thought it was just a stupid rumor. But at that moment someone came. It was the Reaper. She asked if they were talking about her. The guy told her not to come closer if she didn't want to die. There are 4 of them here. He just said this when the child was killed. Then the Reaper said, weren't there 4, she only counted 3. The guys attacked her, but as expected, she was incredibly strong. She dealt with Tai easily. She was pierced, but it didn't bother her much. William and the mage teamed up, the mage shooting spikes at her while William protected him. Spikes of darkness. The longer it is activated, the faster the spikes. Soon she would be unable to dodge them. But the Reaper was in front of them in an instant. In just a couple of minutes, she killed everyone in the group. Even though each of them was level 15, it was a piece of cake for her. William said with his last strength, he just remembered. He had heard about her before. She is that crazy woman who kills everyone on the island. Why does she do this? What they did to her, there is no reason for this. Miss stated that in fact there is. In real life, she lost an arm and a leg in an accident. And here she can kill everyone all day long. She enjoys it. That's the reason. It's not for nothing that they call her crazy. She stabbed William over and over again. Sean realized that he had to run away. If she found him, he would be dead. Suddenly she started counting. It seemed like she knew Sean was hiding. Sean ran as fast as he could, but the count ran out and the Reaper attacked. There is nowhere else to run. There is no path ahead, and behind is the Reaper. She smiled cheerfully at him, offering to play a little. Since he has a cute face, she will give him the last word. Before she cracked open his cute little skull, Sean said a little awkwardly, she missed 4, after 5. It's strange to pay attention to this before death. The Reaper was offended by this, and asked if she understood that he wanted to die slowly and painfully. If this were another game, you could force quit. But here he cannot log out until he reaches the exit point. Sean tried to attack, but the Reaper grabbed him and promised to be gentle. Like with that little sister who followed her annoying brother. Everything became blurry. Sean couldn't breathe anymore and his face felt like it was about to burst. And so, our hero died for the first time. Game Master decided to explain what happens after death in the game. He uses a little magic, and his lifeless body teleports to the entry point. And then you're kicked out of the game, and as punishment you won't be able to log into the game for 12 hours. So our Sean can die as many times as he wants, but there's more. Miss Rin was surprised that Sean returned early. She asked him to go out so she could clean up. But Sean said that he would do everything himself. 3 days after this incident, Sean returned to the game. The feeling of horror did not leave him. He continued to feel suffocated. Now he understood why the game turned off so many people while he was out in the open. He could die at any moment. Suddenly someone called him and Sean flinched. But Sean didn't have to worry. John was coming up to him and said hello to Sean. Sean also greeted him. John reminded him that they were the same age, so there was no need for formalities. Then Sean asked where Sunny was. John said that she wouldn't come again. She stopped playing after the murder. Initially, he asked her to play with him to make her happy. But that crazy woman took that away from her. Sunny can't think only about how scary it was to die. John was eager to take revenge on the Reaper for hurting his sister. But Sean had a different opinion. He said that John had better put that idea aside. He saw how she dealt with a group on her own. They didn't even have a chance. Of course, she killed him too. But John interrupted Sean, saying that he didn't know for sure how Sean became like this. He understands that Sean has a right to feel this way. But won't Sean himself feel pathetic if he doesn't fight back? You can't get used to being bullied by others. Recalling the past bullying, Shauna winced, but decided to leave it behind. He wanted to join John, even though he knew there wasn't much he could do. John praised Sean for changing his mind, and he added that he shouldn't worry. He himself understands that the two of them can't handle her. That's why he did a little digging on the internet about this alien killer. It turns out there's a bunch of people just like them, and John turned to the strongest group. But when the guys came to the group, they were greeted without much enthusiasm. The old man told them to get out even though they had just arrived. John objected. He said that the old man didn't even look at what they were capable of. The old man replied, "A couple dozen teenagers were gathering a raid on that Reaper. They thought they could overwhelm her with numbers, but she killed them all. Kids like them are like a meat shield. They've never killed anyone before." John shouted that they just needed a little practice. Jason lost his patience and ordered them to get lost. Before he could kill them, Sean was just about to say something when the butcher threw him back. John screamed, "What the hell is he doing? You can't just hit people like that." "What then is the difference between a butcher and a Reaper?" the old man replied. "Nothing. He had already killed 24 of them before joining the group. The butcher said he wouldn't die from it, but John didn't think so. He shouted that Sean was only level 7. How would he survive? But then they heard a wheeze. Sean was indeed still alive. He put up a block. Gasping for breath, he said that he would leave him alone and asked him not to be angry. The butcher became interested in Sean and ordered Sean to be brought to him. "Let's meet the butcher. He's about 35, 2 meters tall." The guys tried to get to know him, but he didn't answer a single question. And when he finally answered the question about what he likes, the answer didn't make Sean very happy. The butcher liked slaughter and dismemberment. So Sean never asked him about anything again. And Sean is still as bad as he is, and he can't hold a candle to him. It's hard to close that gap. Because of the difference in strength, the butcher advised not to let this interfere. There are plenty of kids stronger than him if Sean can't hold his own with brute force. Let him find another way to fight. Sean believed that nothing could help him anymore. He was ridiculed for raising his intelligence by fighting with swords. The butcher told Sean not to think of himself as a game character, but to pump up his intelligence to make the right decision. After all, then he will fight more intelligently. Luck will help him rely on instincts. If he scattered stats across everything, it means he became universal. Sean even blushed from such speech. So Sean decided to pump up skills that complement their combat power. He is not untalented, but versatile. Ted said that the most important ability is dodging. There is no doubt that the youth can easily beat him in close combat. But he can compensate for this with a fast hand. It improves the dexterity parameters. Sean was impressed by how Ted hit the targets without aiming, but Ted himself was not happy. In a real fight, no one will stand still like a tin can. If you need practice, you should go shoot some mobs. Ted gave Sean a gun to practice with. Sean blushed and said that they were both so kind to him. Jason was so kind. Little Sean seems to have forgotten how the butcher carried him out on their first meeting. It's John's turn. Magic, intelligence, always useful. Magic is like calculations in the head. Each spell is like a mathematical formula that pops into your memory as you cast it. By changing variables here and there, you can change the range of combat power. Even creating a new spell, from such an amount of information, Sean floated. Sunny and John had the same stats, but her spells were much more powerful. She gave him a rare skill book, but he can't bring himself to open it. If you study it, it will burn. Sean did not want to accept such value. But John said that after revenge, he doesn't plan to play anymore. He doesn't want to come back here without his sister. So there's no point in keeping it, so Sean needs it more than he does. The boys gathered so Ted could tell them why the Reaper was so strong. Firstly, her level, she has it at maximum. Secondly, her weapon. She has it at a unique level. Sean didn't know what a unique weapon meant. John was surprised that he had never heard of such things. And he explained that weapons are divided into 4 classes: common, rare, unique, and legendary. Unique has special properties, which is why it costs a lot of money. Ted added that there was also Genesis, a step above the legendary one, which he had only heard about. It is more powerful than the legendary weapon, but to obtain it, you must fulfill strict requirements. The guys were arguing about its existence, and Jason asked them to get to the point. Ted repeated that the Reaper had a unique weapon, so they were no match for her. And lastly, this is combat experience. She is from some distant planet. Her real name is Nada. She is a frontline soldier. She comes from a hereditary line of military personnel. In real life, she has more than 100 dead to her credit, and she made a name for herself in the war. But she lost her limbs, while in the game she killed at least 1,000 on this island alone. On the other hand, they have one capricious teenager who has nothing to show for it. John wanted to object. Another awkward teenager who is too shy to even make friends. Sean didn't even think of arguing. And big, talentless idiot Jason threatened to kill him, so Ted ended it on him. The last participant is an old bag of bones, so the only ones stronger than the Reaper are the boss monsters. But he thinks they should do it anyway. He still remembers how the Reaper stabbed the little girl. Chatting that it's just a game, she won't really die, but there has to be a moral standard. So they have to do this. Whoever manages to survive will take her body to the ferry to the continent. There she will not be able to live in poverty, but she can only act brutally here. That's all for today. The kids must get home before dark. He left, and John admitted that at first he thought Ted was just a stupid old man. But he is full of surprises. Sean, suddenly overflowing with enthusiasm, asked Jason to double the training. Jason decided to start training immediately, 7 days later. Noob Island Danger Zone, Sea Trip. The Dove said that they had recently killed him. Maybe he would just let his team go. But the Reaper immediately finished him off when the Dove asked her to take a rest. She was singing quietly while walking along the beach, when suddenly a bullet flew past. She dodged it in time. The bullet didn't frighten her at all. Ted and Jason appeared. The Reaper said that the old man shouldn't have come. He understands that testing her respect for her elders is a bad idea. She decided to play the victim, saying that they had been following her for several months and looked like stalkers. What did she do to deserve this? 2 grown men chasing a fragile girl. While she was performing this performance, Jason suddenly approached her. But the Reaper quickly jumped over his attack. Jason's speed wasn't enough. The Reaper was wet and angry because she couldn't finish her speech. While she was chiding Jason for his ungentlemanly behavior, she was attacked again. She thought, the old fart has been shooting from the sky for a long time. He would never have shot himself like that. She didn't have time to think about it for long. Jason attacked her again. But this time he shouted, "Earthquake," and kicked. It seems to be his skill. The Reaper didn't expect this. All Jason did was stamp his foot, and that was enough to push her back. Once again, the Reaper was shot several times and was unable to block the attack. She fell into the water and sank deeper and deeper, but this only made her happy. And although she didn't understand where these two had mastered the new receivers, they undoubtedly worked. She didn't expect Jason to be able to work as a team. Usually she would have gotten rid of the old man in close combat, but now she couldn't find him. And here's the reason. John hid their presence as best he could. He couldn't do this for long. Mana was already running out, but Ted knew it was still too early. It won't be that easy to kill her, so John will have to come to terms with fatigue. The Reaper crawled out of the water and asked if Jason thought he was being unfair, and she suggested a duel, one-on-one, but Jason sent her to hell. The Reaper had no doubt that she would not be able to come to an agreement with Jason. The only thing that surprises her is that she doesn't see Ted. She admitted that they seem to have everything figured out. Taking out the weapon, the Reaper said that it was not every day that she showed this to people. They might think she did them an honor by throwing her knife into the sky. Jason didn't understand why she threw it up, but then she said, "Dandelion." As it turns out, it's a unique class weapon with a minor lightning attribute. Capable of splitting into 50 combat elements, the Reaper attacked several territories at once, and one of the blades flew straight at them. Nothing could be done. Ted blocked the blade, but at that moment the Reaper noticed them. She didn't even hesitate. She immediately ran towards them. Jason tried to stop her, but of course it didn't work. And she was even able to hit Jason, but he remained alive. The Butcher seemed to get angry and grabbed the Reaper by the neck. The guys who wanted to run away froze in place. When it comes to brute force, Jason is much stronger. The Reaper couldn't even move, she said. It sucks. She had to let herself be cut into pieces in order to become strong. But some are given this from birth, the Reaper asked. Didn't it seem a little unfair? Jason didn't understand what she was up to. The Reaper stated that she had promised herself not to use it in the game, but it was better this way than dying. She had already dealt with one. There were still 2 left. John didn't even have time to understand what had happened. He tried to attack, but for the Reaper it was child's play. After all, she had been subjected to experimental injections since childhood to improve her physical abilities. A couple of weeks of training wouldn't make a difference to them, but she admitted that the guys managed to get close to her, so she promised to kill the guys quickly and cleanly. Surprisingly, Ted managed to hit the Reaper, which the Reaper didn't expect. Although small, it is still progress. At that moment, our hero appeared, Jason's body floating on the surface. The Reaper asked if they had met before. Sean reminded that she had killed him once. Then she said she couldn't believe she had forgotten such a cute face. She spoke so casually as she threw blades at Sean. Somehow, Sean managed to deflect all the blades. The Reaper said this skill belongs to Jason. Do they know each other? But why is it taking so long? His friends are already dead. Unless he came alone on purpose. Such self-confidence might make her angry, Sean replied. That's right. He thought there would be a chance if there was one. That's why I was late. The Reaper became interested and said, will he be able to justify his unfounded confidence, or will he simply die? They began to fight, and the Reaper realized that Sean was not a windbag, and she suggested speeding up a little. She created several blades. She brutally attacked Sean. The tactics are incredible. It is impossible to calculate her, because she simply throws one knife after another. As if throwing them away, the Reaper attacked again with a hail of blades. Amazingly, Sean was able to survive the hailstorm. The Reaper laughed that Sean was about to wet himself, and yet he was able to block the attack. But why dodge like that instead of doing the trick with your legs? Although it's clear that he simply doesn't have enough strength, he's not Jason. He'll break his legs if he tries, but the Reaper suddenly said she'd let him live. Why doesn't he just run away? It looks like he trained hard. He understands that he has a grudge against her, but there are reasons why she commits mass murder. It's like a vaccine. Once you get to the continent, you'll find it's full of worse psychos than her. She's doing them a favor. How will he deal with those psychos if he can't kill her? But Sean deserves to leave this island, and he can do it. Suddenly Sean said, lie, he knows she won't believe him. But her tears, they began to flow from her left eye. The left side is the mind. The right one is emotions. Her tears were pure calculation, a deception. The Reaper darkened and asked where he got this nonsense from. It was boring. After all, giving people hope and then taking it away is the best torture. Does he really attend psychology classes? Sean replied, no. She was simply suspicious and repeated what she had read on the internet. The two had many awkward moments, and the Reaper got angry and decided to kill him. He looked at her and suddenly she just disappeared, amazingly fast. She rushed past and finally attacked. Sean managed to dodge, and he was even able to use the earthquake, albeit unsuccessfully. It was too bad. It could have hurt if it had hit my stomach. It looked like this was his last chance, the Reaper said. But Sean is full of surprises. He used a cannon. The Reaper didn't know that Sean was a mix of all the skills, but the Reaper did not consider this an advantage, but rather a disadvantage. Suddenly Sean shot her and then cut her in two. She fell into the water, wondering where those two old men found this child. It's too early to rest. She came out of the water and said that 2 weeks of practice is not enough. To transform a person so much, he must have some kind of secret backstory. She asked him what his class ranking was, and Sean replied that he was 6th, which was high. She was always dozing off in class, maybe if she were as smart. Then her life would have turned out differently. She would have liked to know the name. Sean said his name, the Reaper said her name, even though she knew he knew it. At that moment, Sean felt the air around him change. She didn't say another word. Didn't say anything spectacular like, here I am, or let's get this over with. Despite this, Sean was sure that he was about to die, his body frozen in fear. But for some reason, he was so enraptured by her terrible anger that he could only stand and watch. She has many names, Ghost, Queen of the Island, but most know her as the Reaper. Some compare newcomers to sprouts, but he kills them all, as if mowing them down. The Reaper grabbed Sean and punched him in the stomach, then threw him into the water. The Reaper herself did not want to get wet, so she remained on the creature. She was sure he would swim out if he didn't want to drown with such a wound he wouldn't last long there. But Sean knew that if he rose he would die, although underwater he would die too. His ears are about to burst, the wound hurts, he can't breathe, he doesn't know how to cope with it. All she had to do was concentrate for a split second, and he was almost dead. John said they all needed to fight together. Have you really forgotten how 20 people attacked her and still got beat up? Unexpectedly, Jason stood up for Sean and said he believed in Sean. Just because someone listened to him at least once, he forgot his place. Sean scolded himself no one wanted to talk to him because of the rumors. And they never listened, even if they could hear. So Jason believes in a loser like that, Sean thought. I should have ignored him like everyone else, Sean added when he finally got out of the water. And he even managed to dodge the Reaper's attack and use the earthquake again. Sean barely had time to name the skill he was using before his foot hit the surface. And at that second, the Reaper managed to calculate the optimal reaction. She has no equal when it comes to fighting, and yet Sean was able to attack. But the wound was a joke, although there was no armor on it. If he had been as strong as Jason, this blow could have been fatal. Their battle was observed and they realized that Sean had tried to manipulate the Reaper. Medusa wanted Sean to kill the Reaper because she was having a hard time cleaning up after the Reaper. Game Master. He said that people don't die here as often as on the continent. He also believed that Sean would not be able to defeat the Reaper. If only she could be killed by effort alone. She wouldn't be able to kill more than 1,000 players. The boy will soon reach his limit after all. This is not a fairy tale. To be objective, fallen players are in no way inferior to the Reaper. He had to anticipate her next steps, since her high speed made it impossible to follow her. If that didn't work, all he could do was follow his instincts. He spent points on everything, so he didn't have enough stats to kill her. The Reaper said, 5 for effort, and this game won't work, so he can go up. Sean explained that he had no choice but to fight like this. He is forced to resort to dirty tricks because he is weak, and since she won, he is ready to answer her first question. She asked him why he came alone. The Reaper interrupted him and said, to be honest, she didn't care. Maybe he wanted to prove he was right. Sean replied that he had nothing to prove. He would do anything to get through the day. And even if they laugh at him and make fun of him, she will never understand this. She never had to obey anyone in her entire life. It seemed like it was her first time, and suddenly the Reaper felt an eerie presence. It was a Leviathan, its very breath causing natural disasters to rage all around. The guys deliberately chose the sea. It's a dangerous zone. Leviathan can be lured by the scent of blood. The boys lured her into the open sea throughout the battle, and they bought enough time for the Leviathan to arrive. The Reaper wanted to run away, but it didn't work out. Sean's magic grabbed her by the leg. Sean hid his magic until the last minute so she wouldn't be ready for it. All the Reaper cared about was killing other players. That's why I didn't even know about the existence of the Leviathan. Sean knew that if they had met face to face, he would never have come out of the fight alive. He couldn't fight fairly either, and he didn't need honor. He used his partner's bodies as bait to win. After all, he knows his place. He knows that someone like him will never win in a fair fight. Leviathan bit the Reaper. Sean opened its mouth to take her. It's good that the Leviathan was attracted to Ted's body. Sean was able to escape. Sean wouldn't have been able to get rid of him if he had followed Sean. A tired Sean carried the Reaper on his back, and people couldn't believe their eyes. Of course, no one believed that Sean himself killed the Reaper. And you can't blame them for it. Sean thought so too. They have a right to doubt, after all. Sean wasn't actually the one who killed her. Neon is an NPC who had only one task in the game. Allow eligible players to board a ship sailing to the continent. He didn't even have to ask questions. He could tell whether the players had fulfilled the conditions just by looking at them. He told Sean to get lost because he hadn't beaten the boss. Well, this could have been foreseen. There will not be another chance like this. We need to send her away. Then Sean told Neon that the lady did everything, but she didn't have the strength left to climb onto the ship. Common sense tells Sean that this won't work. Neon said that the players who escaped the island have something in common. 9 out of 10 hide their faces. Obviously, no one will walk around with their face uncovered. When there are 15 dead bodies and Sean hasn't made it through the selection process, Neon began to read the Reaper's glasses and froze in horror. It's not surprising, since the Reaper has 1,125 murders to her credit. Then Neon told Sean to jump in before he changed his mind. Sean was surprised that he was allowed to pass, making an exception. Neon asked what else. Is the ship leaving soon? Is it landing or not? Just because he's an NPC doesn't mean he's a robot. He can relate. Sean finally got onto the ship. He couldn't even move a finger. He thought that in the end he would die, even though it was a game, using the bodies of his friends. As bait it sucks, but failure would be even worse. Then he remembered their conversation with John, where he said that you can't let others bully you. He thought, she's not going to pursue him in real life. Sean lost consciousness, and Miss scolded Neon, saying that there were no passengers, only 2 corpses. But Neon didn't care at all, because the continent was a shitty place. Where terrible things happen, it will not be easy for anyone. As for these two, they just completed their training. The estimated number of players is 10 to 20 million. Del Sona is the first destination players arrive at after the island. And this is Ayla, class, dancer, level, 43. She also knew about the Reaper. Rumors spread quickly here. The Reaper was known even on the continent. They knew she was a bully, that she bullied weaklings. It seems like a rabid wolf has been released into the city center. Juno was also worried about her presence on the continent. He didn't want to give the Reaper a chance to become stronger, so he decided that he had to kill her. Her appearance was discussed by almost everyone, and whoever killed her, all the guilds would rush to recruit the killer of the Reaper. Nana said that there was a schoolboy lying with her. Maybe he killed him. Lime believed that a child could not defeat the Reaper, and he was right. The man said that the two could come back. Nana was worried that he might be recognized. It was dangerous. But the Lightbulb believed that their leader was the most powerful here, so there was no need to worry. Their leader also knew about the Reaper, and as it turned out, her head was worth a lot. The guy bragged about how he killed someone in the game and told him his name and where he could find him. His friends said he would get into trouble if he continued to tell where he lived. But the guy was self-confident and said that he would not stop. Suddenly he called Sean and asked if he played this game. Sean lied that he did not. The guy said it was better for Sean. Then he came up and hit Sean for no reason. And he dared to threaten Sean that if Sean appeared in the game, he would kill Sean. The assholes laughed at Sean's suffering, and then went their separate ways. Sean considered himself lucky that they left so quickly. When you've been treated unfairly for so long, you get used to it. And that's why Sean prefers this place to escape from reality. Naive Sean believed that there was no discrimination or disease here. All these bad feelings go away when he looks at this fabulous landscape. He was afraid that after he lost consciousness, he might be brought back. But everything worked out. Sean noticed people in masks. They hide their faces to conceal their status, and they have made many enemies. Sean thought that was the reason Jason wore the mask, but he couldn't think about it for long. The man pointed a knife and told Sean to follow him. Sean said whoever he was, it was illegal to do that in the city center. But that didn't stop the man, so Sean went into the alley. And he asked if he knew her. It turned out that it was the Reaper. His worries that the Reaper would pursue him came true. She was really looking for him, and she was very unhappy. She didn't like this hole at all. She asked why he brought her here. He could have come here himself, which is why he took her with him. Sean responded because he couldn't let her do crazy things on the island. He heard that she had dismembered the child. Those players who just wanted to enjoy the game did nothing wrong. But they killed them for fun, the Reaper said. It's just a game. Sean replied that although that may be the case, the pain they feel here is real. Those people tried to escape reality by playing here, but it took that away from them. The trauma she inflicted on them is real. That's all. The Reaper seemed irritated by the naivety. She said she was speechless. How ridiculous. She can't believe she has to be on the run because of a brat. It seems Sean didn't know that the Reaper was wanted, the Reaper said. She killed over 1,000 people on the island and thought her victims would just want a hug. At that moment, Sean didn't really understand what she was talking about. But she brought all this on herself. It was worth thinking about the consequences. She could have just left the game, now she'll get her own vaccine. Sean hoped he would never encounter her again. That's what he thought. And he shouldn't have done what he did after that. The next day, his attention was drawn to a crowd of people making fun of someone. As soon as he pushed forward, he saw the Reaper. More precisely, her almost lifeless body lying on the ground. The man said she decided they wouldn't recognize her in that mask, and broke the horn. And people laughed at how they mocked her. But the Reaper's fighting spirit made itself known, she asked, putting on a wretched mask. Because he's worried that she'll remember his face. He doesn't even have the courage to kill her because he's afraid of being arrested. Suddenly, Ayla appeared and made her way forward through the crowd. She told the Reaper that she didn't look well, the Reaper responded. Her mindless minions didn't help much by trampling on her. Let him rid her of her stupid pop star image and get out of here. Ayla replied that she would never have thought that she would see the Reaper beaten half to death. What goes around comes around. Since she killed 1,000 people, she should die 2,000 times. Perhaps the Reaper would not have been so damaged if all her limbs had been in place. What is it like to be destitute in a place where she can still walk with her body completely intact? The Reaper screamed that she would kill her, but Ayla reminded her that this was not an island of noobs. No one will come out to help her. How will she cope alone? Maybe someone can help her get to the gate and log out of the system. People shouted, "Let her crawl like the slug she is. This is nothing compared to what she did. It needs to be captured on camera." Sean felt bad about it, even though he knew they had a right to be angry. She deserved all of this, and yet he couldn't remember being bullied. Someone shouted that if there were no guards here, he would have killed her himself. If she tries to slit her wrist, heal her to make her suffer. Despite the crowd of angry people, Sean stepped out and picked up the Reaper. Ayla looked down on Sean, level 15. She wanted to say something, but Sean interrupted her and said he knew who she was. And what she did was kill him, and yet it was wrong. Having said this, Sean left while people looked at him with displeasure. The girl said that Sean needed to be warned and put in his place. Ayla asked why warn him. It only meant they would let him get away with it. It seems that Isla decided to punish Sean for humiliating her in front of people. Sean has just made a crazy enemy, and he will soon realize that this place is worse than reality. And it's definitely worse than the island, the Reaper asked. He doesn't think she'll be grateful for it. If it weren't for him, she wouldn't be here at all. She would definitely kill him next time. And not only him, but every scumbag who laughed at her there. She won't be kind, Sean interrupted her and said what he did. It had to happen. He thought it was right, but now he is not so sure. How can you be so cruel just because it's just a game? The Reaper hit Sean and asked why he even came out. She can go on her own. Let him worry about his ass. There's a reason no one came out there. She advised Sean to keep his eyes open from now on. And the main thing is to stay away from her. Having said this, she left the game. Suddenly someone asked Sean if he liked horns, or if he had a fetish for other types. They say love makes you do crazy things. That's why he acted that way. She appeared so unexpectedly. And how long did she stand there? Sean wondered. The girl advised Sean to stay offline for a couple of months. They are following him. It's better not to stick your neck out. This isn't an island of noobs. They might have already prepared an order to kill him. Sean was confronted with the reality of the continent, the girl explained. There are 3 guilds in the game that no one contacts. One of them is the Viewpoint. And he stopped that crazy woman. He could have been saved by joining the guild. But he is unlikely to succeed, so it is best to stay offline. Sean replied that this was too much. He knew that the Reaper had given them a reason to pursue her. But this is the only place where she can forget about her disability. It is too cruel that she should be isolated here, and he does not say that she is innocent. It's too much that hundreds of players are chasing her, the girl asked. And many are so concerned about their killer. At first she was joking, but now she really thinks he's in love with her, Sean shouted. It's not true. Since he's not going to hide, he should be more careful. Being in the city does not guarantee safety. They probably deliberately found a less crowded gate. Maybe they should have chosen a place where there was a guard. Sean didn't understand what she meant. The girl explained that if it weren't for her, Sean would already be dead. She grabbed the mercenary with her plants, and the girl left. And Sean thought, she said he didn't even realize he was about to die. She had no reason to lie to her about it. Sean finally felt his situation, as if he had been doused with ice water. He realized what he had done that day. Thousands of wanted posters fell from the sky. It seems, from a vantage point, that they often put people they don't like on the wanted list, because the players were already looking tiredly at their next victim. They put the same price on his head as on the Reaper, and Sean still sat there. But he understood that nothing would change if he just sat there. The mantis broke free and found him. She was surprised that he was still there. She decided that she had lost her chance because of the magical baby. While she was speaking, the mantis thrust its hand into Sean. Sean can't run anywhere with such a wound. There is no chance of survival. From that day on, the vast majority of players in Delsona began hunting Sean. Tavrena is one of the typical gaming locations based on medieval fantasy. Because leveling up on the continent requires being in a group. Players typically gather here to take on quests and find party members. But it seemed like Sean wasn't welcome. Everyone was looking at him. The bird came up to him and said, "He looks quite worried. It's his first time here. Maybe he could help him." Suddenly the girl shook his wing off Sean. The bird told her to wait her turn, but the girl screamed. She knows what he's going to do, then starts scolding Sean for coming to such a crowded place with an open face. She grabbed Sean's hand and ran with him. The bird complained that she had gotten in front of him so rudely. The girl's name was Victoria. She scolded Sean and said that he could at least put on a mask. There's a price on his head that could buy a house, so everyone wants to kill him. Sean was more worried that the deal was bad. He couldn't be worth that much. Vicky explained that guilds aren't some kind of thugs. They're the best players. Sean asked what he should do now. Vicky said that he couldn't walk alone. Let them travel with friends. Sean admitted he has no friends. Vicky explained that they are trying to set an example, even though it is cruel. After all, he is a child. Vicky promised to talk to someone about him. She has a friend in the Virus Guild, one of the top 3. She will put in a good word for him. If it is accepted, the search will be cancelled. But don't get your hopes up too much. There are no guarantees. Sean didn't expect such kindness, and said that it was nevertheless nice to know that everything was not hopeless. He thanked her, and added that he had no idea why she was so kind. Vika replied that the Reaper never killed her, and it seemed so to her too. That the crowd was overly cruel, but lacked the courage to come forward. But he had enough of it, so she decided that he was kind of cool. After exchanging pleasantries, she told Sean where to go. Sean's mood noticeably improved. He was worried about the future. But it seems the world is not without good people. It reminded him of the times on the island. He was wondering if the boys had managed to reach the continent when the suspiciously kind Vicky arrived. Vicky apologized for the delay and said that her friend was very busy. Sean asked if he needed to do anything to join the guild. A test or something else, Vicky replied. No idea, most likely. But the main thing is his strong will. He will surely pass any test, which they will arrange for him. Suddenly a familiar, creepy voice said, "Stop talking nonsense, it was Jason, I think." Vicky said he looked completely different from what she imagined. Sean said he didn't expect to see him here and asked, "How does Vicky know Jason?" But then Jason interrupted him and said, "Whatever Sean thinks, he's wrong. He's a member of the Viewpoint." Now he realized that good people simply do not exist. The Viewpoint offered double the reward if she brought him back alive. She began to mock him for trusting her so easily. And to finish him off, she said that no guild would accept such a loser. He won't be able to escape even if he tries. So now let him keep quiet. Let him nod if he understood. But Jason interrupted her, saying there was no need for that. Because they both would die here, Vika didn't expect that. She shouted what he was carrying, and they told him that Ayla would deal with him herself. But more importantly, why does Jason want to kill her too? Jason just told her to get her weapon ready. Now she was seriously nervous. She saw Jason for the first time. He is from the Viewpoint Guild, and he is already level 19. He didn't get a class and left information about himself even in the mask. Still, she decided he was just a noob, even though he looked creepy. She said she didn't think she'd get involved with him since he was from the guild. However, she quickly realized that Jason was anything but simple. She realized that he had put all his stats into agility, and yet she decided that the mission was possible. But she was wrong. She died quickly. Jason told Sean it was his turn now, and let him prepare his weapon. Sean gasped with fear and said, "He doesn't want to fight Jason. He was the first one who taught him how to fight. What's the point of this fight at all? Just because he did something that Viewpoint doesn't like? Or because he helped the Reaper, whom they killed together?" Sean screamed that he didn't want to fight him as Jason plunged the knife into his chest. And as Sean lay there on the ground, he remembered how they had talked. Sean said he didn't think Jason's speech sounded strange. He had a raspy voice too. And he asked Jason not to be shy about talking to him for him. Jason's phrases were not at all funny. Jason sat in front of Sean's corpse, looking like he had no intention of leaving. A crazy woman showed up and asked Jason why the guy was dead. Didn't they agree that she would be the one to tear him to pieces? Or he did it so she wouldn't get her hands dirty? How sweet. Only it seems to her that he died a quick and painless death. But she wanted to torture him so that his brain would flow out of his nose. Jason interrupted him and said that if he dared, he would kill her. The maid seemed offended by this and started shouting at him. But it quickly died down when he stood up. Hysteria began to portray the hackneyed image of an idol again. And the maid was upset that Ayla had found herself a favorite. Jason left the sword and Ayla asked why he left it there. He's not going to give him the sword. Didn't their guild make it especially for Jason? Was his friend Jason a loser? He paused for a moment and replied, "No." Sean sat and remembered how Jason, whom he considered a friend, killed him. He remembered Jason teaching him swordsmanship and telling him that Sean had a talent for it. Sean couldn't hold back his tears when he thought about it. The death of someone close to him seemed to break him. Unlike the kind of bullies Sean was used to. The asshole bragged that if they were in the game, Sean would have been thrown 20 meters away. Sean thought he was dreaming. If they were in the game, he would regret it. They can beat him as much as they want because he has a life on the side. There they don't bully him or beat him, he even did something impressive. Although few people know about this, it is strange that he thinks so. After all, there is still a lot of money offered for his head. Basically, every time he's in this game, he gets killed, and the pain is real, so why does he choose death? The two started arguing over who would get the money. They fought over his body parts, they say, as if it was nothing. So how is this different from reality? In the game, Sean is killed by all sorts of evil spirits, and quite brutally. And at school, bullies bully us, demanding money and beating us. And so it is every day, continuous bullying and murder. Meeting Jason again, he tried to pour out his soul to him. He continued to talk about how he was being bullied, and that he couldn't tell his parents. After all, they've been dead for a long time and he feels lousy. It's strange, he was so happy there on the island. He made friends for the first time. He wished he could go back. He should have known his place. Sean continued talking without receiving a single answer. Then a girl came up to him and said that her parents were sick, and could Sean die just once. Sean sent her away. He screamed at her about why the hell she was even on the internet when her parents were about to die. The girl started cursing at him in response, but Sean didn't pay attention. Sean decided to stop playing the game. He was finally fed up with it. He reached his limit. Suddenly someone called him a loser. It was the Reaper. She asked if he was still thinking of chickening out after all the crap he had been through. Why go online if you're just going to sulk in the rain? It's one of those things that happens during puberty. How pathetic he is, Sean declared. She is in the same position as he is. The Reaper stated that she was not whining like a child in the corner. Sean said he thinks they play this game for one reason. They want to escape reality. He doesn't know what it's like to be without arms, but he constantly has to hide the bruises. That's why he got addicted to this stupid game. The Reaper still didn't admit that they were similar. If she were in his place, she would fight back instead of living like a loser. Sean said in despair that for a serial killer, killing is easy. Maybe he should pay her to kill his classmates. The Reaper warned that if he talked, she would kill him here. Sean responded by asking how such a psychopath could cope with her anger. She can kill him, he doesn't mind. The Reaper immediately grabbed him. She started beating him and said, "Then let him die." Unexpectedly, Sean hit back and stood up. The Reaper didn't resist, but Sean said so. He thinks killing is so easy. It's always easier said than done. She thinks he puts up with what's happening because he wants to. If only he could beat them. He would have wasted his time here. What did he do to deserve this? It's all because he helped such a psychopath. And that's enough to get him killed. For them, killing is so easy that it even makes you want to puke. They are all abnormal freaks. It doesn't matter anymore. They won't meet again anyway. Once upon a time, going online was his only source of solace. But now this place is just as suffocating. He would like to finish them all off. The Reaper pushed him away and asked if the confession was over. Sean told her to kill him. He didn't care. He was fed up. Suddenly, the Reaper said that he could kill her and take the body to the viewing point. This will remove the contract for murder from him. He promises that he will not hold a grudge against him. But if he wants to get even, he can team up with her and together they can get out of here. It all depends on him, so let him choose. Sean chuckled and asked if that was why she found him. She thinks he's crazy. She thinks they can just hug and make up. He has news for her. They are both new here. This is no longer an island. Why should he join a mental hospital? Let him leave this nonsense. Let him die. Sean took out a knife and ran towards her. The Reaper didn't run away, but Sean couldn't kill her. Then the Reaper said that she had already given him a chance. Sean dropped the knife and fell to the ground again. The Reaper suggested talking in calmer tones. Here they can't be overheard, so he can be frank. Sean was clearly embarrassed after what happened, so he decided to start with an apology. He apologized long and tediously for his words and actions. The Reaper tried to tell Sean that everything was okay, but he kept apologizing and she slammed the table. She stood up and Sean asked why she was standing behind him, scaring him. Then the Reaper slammed him on the table and said, "From now on he's with her, so if he whines again, she'll kill him." Their target is Iron, also known as the Black Castle because most of the inhabitants, whether they were masked criminals or had a lot of enemies, Sean wasn't sure. But the Reaper was sure that it was worth going there because the whole city was suspicious. But it's really far away. It won't be easy to get there. The journey will take 3 days, and if they die, everything will be bad. But that's exactly why she hired a smuggler to help them. He's just a little eccentric, but there's no choice. They met him, and he said that he does not see beauty in people. And we have already seen this guy in all colors, complex and simple. His name is Hayato, level 23, and he warned that he might not be able to save Sean in time. He can't protect them without a sword, but at the same time he can't drive a carriage with it. Sean whispered if she was sure that if he turned them in. Suddenly Hayato asked if he thought Hayato would betray them for money. Of course he accepted the advance, but it was just an empty gesture. In fact, he wants fame, and precisely in a bad light. And who else but the Reaper can ruin his reputation? Then everyone will tremble in his presence. The Reaper explained that there was no need to worry. Hayato had written his address in the contract. She asked if he had prepared transport. Hayato promised discreet transport. And here it is, the devilish, sour, huge Uzi cart. Departure time is still tomorrow at 4 in the morning. Sean wasn't happy with this, because he had school. The Reaper told him to just take a walk for a couple of days. Why go there? If they were making fun of him there, Sean sheepishly agreed. She is an unemployed idle person, although she receives a monthly veteran's salary. The Reaper decided to make a fire and sleep. Sean asked her where she got it from. The Reaper replied, "From the real world." This made Sean happy. He had always wanted to go camping, and asked if she had another one. Of course, she didn't have one. The strange Hayato suggested sleeping under a snail. It was creepy, so Sean refused. Sean couldn't sleep and asked if the Reaper had ever gotten close to anyone on the island. The Reaper told him to shut up and go to bed. But that didn't stop Sean. He asked what they would do if they were caught. The Reaper replied, "They will be reborn in Del Son, and that's all. If Sean dies, she has no intention of coming back for him." Sean asked why she found him. The Reaper replied that she could only trust him, and she liked him. I mean, seeing people like Sean change, like a child who vomited after his first murder. He learns to bury people. As if it were nonsense, she was interested in whether he would retain his self. Suddenly the Reaper fell silent. As it turned out, she had fallen asleep. Right in the middle of the sentence, it starts to get cold. Sean was cold and wondering what he could do. Suddenly the little snail decided to help Sean. When kept by humans, these snails are generally docile. Little kids love to sneak up and protect the person they like. The Reaper woke up and said it was time to hit the road. She screamed when she saw that he was covered in snail saliva. Hayato explained, his snail showing its affection. The boy should be grateful, and that's how they went. The Reaper was bored, so she asked Sean to tell her something. Sean asked if he thought he would be bullied if he could tell stories. "Don't relax, they might get attacked." The Reaper replied that people rarely stick their noses into other people's carts. If they find him, they will try to drag him alive to Del Sona. They were talking when suddenly the cart stopped. Hayato said there was an ambush. The atmosphere quickly became heavy, but it was a false alarm. Despite their fears, they managed to escape from Del Son without incident. Until the evening, there was not a single ambush or attack. We could have gone faster. But snails are not horses. The beggars have no choice. The Reaper asked why they get full after eating in the game. Sean replied that they might be pumped with special fluids if they eat in the game. They started choosing the duty order tonight. But everything always goes wrong, and we shouldn't forget about that. Even on such a beautiful night, when you least expect anything bad. And Sean begins to regret the actions he took at that moment. Sean ran to the Reaper and told her that some sounds were coming from the forest. But the Reaper waved it off and told him to forget about it too. Someone was calling for help, and naive Sean believed it. This is how people die in horror movies. Sean found the girl. She was injured. Sean approached her. He asked if she could speak, and if she was badly hurt. Sean was helping her when she suddenly said, "There's another one here." There were 5 of them, but he got to 2. They have to get out of here. While Sean was saying that the potion should help soon. When the monster appeared, he decided to get rid of Sean. But he noticed that 2 more were approaching. 4 against 1 was too much even for him, and these 2 were calling that girl. Shin thanked Sean for helping their partner. Nikki was still sick from the poison. Adam asked Nikki to hold on a little longer. Shin said Sean's name sounded familiar. Sean lied and said it was a common name. Nikki suddenly said that if it weren't for those idiots from Viewpoint, they wouldn't have had to go so far. They occupy all the hotspots near the village and force other players to pay. Sean went quiet when Nikki complained about the vantage point. Shin asked her to be quiet. Just one phrase could anger them. He knows a couple of guys who crossed their path. And at that moment, Shin remembered who Sean was. Then he said to Nikki, "It's all over. Let him follow him if he can't." Sean wanted to run away, but Shin asked him to wait for them. In private, Shin revealed that there was a 3,000 gold piece bounty on Sean's head. Even though he's only level 15, it's definitely him. All they have to do is hand it over to the vantage point and they'll get rich. Nikki wanted to say something, but Shin interrupted her and said, he knows what she wants to say, but he better let her think about it. Sean is already marked by the viewpoint. He is already finished, and he saved her, not in reality. She shouldn't feel obligated. It's not every day that you get a chance like this. Who knows? Maybe he will become a psychopathic killer too, since he saved the Reaper. Simply attacking him won't work. Adam doesn't like cruelty. Shin convinced Nikki that Sean definitely didn't help her with good intentions. He hinted that maybe Sean wanted to use her bodies. They came back. And stupid and naive Sean really did sit there and wait. Before our Sean could speak, a knife suddenly flew at him. Adam screamed, "What is Shin doing? Is he crazy or something?" Shin started lying. He heard everything. He knows what he tried to do with Nikki. It might just be an act, but Sean really thinks he can get away with this. There was no point in pretending. Sean kept an eye on Nikki until she recovered from the poison. And hearing their steps, he immediately stopped. Shin was lying, and did not believe his own words. Sean tried to say that nothing of the sort happened, but Shin shut him up. Nikki added fuel to the fire by saying that she couldn't remember anything because of the poison. Adam didn't believe it, he asked. He had a hard time believing it. Why didn't she tell him right away? Shin answered for her. He blamed everything on the poison. Supposedly because of the poison, her mind became clouded and she only now remembered. Sean finally began to understand the situation he was in. Something that happened to him often. Being accused of something he didn't do and then punished was just a normal part of life for him. The truth didn't matter when the majority said you were guilty. Even a lie could disprove the facts. Sean began to apologize chaotically, repeating that he had offended her without realizing it. Habits that had disappeared thanks to people began to reappear in the absence of these people. Sean's chaotic apology scared Shin. He didn't understand what was wrong with him. But he decided that it was even good for them. And at that moment, a knife flew at him. It was the Reaper. She came up and said, "Just think how angry she was." She stroked Sean's head and said she didn't know what happened. But enough whining, his nanny is here to save the day. Everyone who plays has at least once wondered why they wear regular clothes. And not in armor, but this prejudice did not last long, because it was destroyed by a party member during a dungeon raid. Really cool guys don't need good equipment. Their small daggers do more damage than his massive weapons. That feeling of terrible awe he had experienced then seemed to have just returned. Nikki froze in horror. Then the Reaper began to tease her, saying that she knew what she was thinking. There are more of them. Why do they lose? It's simple, because they suck. They never fought real opponents, only stupid monsters. There's a reason she spared her. She needs to ask something. Maybe the time is not right, because she has already killed her friends. What happened here? Asked the Reaper. Why was this guy whining? If he gives a good reason, she will let her live. Nikki realized that she was finished, but what difference did it make? It was a game, as they like to say. And Nikki continued to play her lie. She said that Sean tried to seduce her. Sean shouted that it was not so, but the Reaper interrupted him, telling him to be quiet. If he didn't understand, she wasn't asking him, so let him keep quiet. When Nikki saw this, she realized that she might be able to get out of here alive. So she spun the most plausible lie she could. Her tearful words seemed so true that even Sean believed them. And for some reason, the Reaper also believed the stranger's words. She started yelling and scolding Sean. Sean himself tried to justify himself, but it didn't work. The Reaper hugged Nikki and tried to calm her down, even apologizing for killing her friends. She promised to let her live. On one condition, Nikki had to undress. Nikki froze. Then the Reaper asked if she hadn't expressed herself clearly enough. Let her undress. For some reason, Nikki still looks puzzled. And even though she agrees that his actions are disgusting, she honestly doesn't care. She doesn't pretend to be a good citizen, and besides, comrades should help each other. So she has to help him get what he wants. The complete nonsense continued. And it seemed the Reaper was serious. She even started keeping a report. Nikki froze, and a second later, Sean took the knife and stabbed Nikki. The Reaper asked why he killed the girl, but she tried to help. Sean screamed, "He knows. Okay, he knows what would happen to him. There is no need to help him." It would never have occurred to him to use something like that as an excuse to take advantage of someone in such a way. So stop saying she's doing it for him. The Reaper sighed and said that they really were incompatible with each other. Then she asked the monster. He had been watching all this time, hadn't he? The monster said that meant the rumors were true, that the Mykurgs had excellent eyesight. But yes, he saw everything. Those ungrateful people set up the boy when he tried to help. It turned out that the Reaper seriously thought that Sean was a pervert. The Reaper told the monster to get lost before she could cut it down. But the monster was not going to listen to her, even though he knew she was a killer. The Reaper threw a dagger at him, but the monster fell faster. Looks like Mr. Lisp is coming back with his gang. Time to run away. Sean began to blame himself for what he had done again. The Reaper told Sean to cheer up. She didn't want to scare him. Sean asked why she was so calm. It was his fault. He expected anger. The Reaper calmed him down in a special way, insulting him. Still, she added at the end that he deserved to be a little more confident. He likes to think that whoever got her off the island wasn't a wimp. So there is no need to be strict with yourself in her presence. They headed back to camp, and the Reaper talked about her acting. The monster came to his partner and told him about the Reaper and Sean. The creepy clown decided that only a fool would miss such an opportunity. So, they decided to go after them. And in the meantime, the Reaper told Hayato everything. Hayato said that if she found herself in such an unavoidable situation, she should remember his advice. Let him stay inside. They won't help each other in any way. But they will definitely die. These masks, the audacity to commit such heinous crimes is comparable to their skill. He hopes the Reaper will listen to him. The Reaper laughed. She was warned. And she added that he should only worry about this guy. She reminded him that she would leave him behind if Sean was hurt. They set off on their journey when the clown and his partner found them. The partner said the cart was clearly private property. And it is not guarded. There are two reasons: either they are carrying inventory, or they hide not objects but people. Blacksmith level 20, which means he's pliable. Then the clown said we could begin. The partner attacked them with an arrow, and the carriage shook. Hayato managed to block the blow. A fine spear, though no match for the shield he forged. Snake said that they managed to repel the attack. What a disappointment. The clown came out and said, "Blacksmith, do you mind if they rob the cart?" Hayato said, "Then they will have to fight." He threw the spear back. But as soon as the guy grabbed the spear, it exploded. The snake laughed at him. It was logical that the blacksmith would not give up so easily. The clown asked if he was alive. The guy whined that his arm hurt. Hayato told them to take him and get going. But the clown simply finished off his partner. Then he said that they had already discovered their target and would do without the extra cargo. Besides, they will get more reward this way. The Reaper realized they were crazy and told Sean to get ready to run. Sean asked if they would help Hayato, but the Reaper knew that those psychos were unusual. They would simply be finished off if they went there. Still, Sean felt bad that he would be responsible for Hayato's death. Meanwhile, Hayato was fighting with the snake, and he would have succeeded in killing him. But the clown intervened. This clown is just skin and bones, but he managed to knock the hammer out of Hayato's hands. The snake didn't expect the clown to help him. The clown said that the blacksmith did not mind his intervention. But the fight shouldn't be fair, so he'll join in. Although he could have dealt with the blacksmith alone. The fight continued, and for now Hayato is alive. But they played unfairly. The snake hit him from behind. He beat Hayato half to death. Then they started laughing at him. The clown asked if he had killed him. The snake replied, no. Although maybe he hit too hard. At that moment a hammer flew at him. The clown didn't expect the blacksmith to be so strong. And how does he handle such a heavy weapon? It seems he has the ability to defy the laws of physics. The clown realized that it had something to do with his bandages. Hayato increased the mass of his hammer and attacked. But the clown wasn't worried at all. And here's why. The clown didn't move even a millimeter after the blow. And then he explained that this is a basic skill for druids. You spend weeks honing your body and mind, and by reaching this state, the body becomes stronger. When the clown pressed with his bony hand, he felt the weight, as if his hand was a mountain, and the clown wanted to torture Hayato, until Hayato himself wishes for death. Hayato's screams echoed throughout the area, and if Sean was terrified, the Reaper simply said that it was time for them to run away. Hayato knew the risk when he accepted their job. She convinced Sean that it would be better to run away, and there is no need to pretend to be heroes. And Hayato jokingly thanked him for the wonderful massage. The clown accepted the invitation to play the pretty ones, but at that moment he was shot. And it was Sean with Ted's gun. The clown said that he really was there. In his place, he would have run away while this guy was distracting attention. Or he's trying to play the hero since it's a game. Have you forgotten that the pain will be real? Hayato asked where the Reaper was. Sean replied that she left. She is not as stupid as he is. She must be far away already. The Reaper complained that Sean was still acting like a fool. When I heard the scream, it was a snake. He screamed that he would tear everyone apart when he returned. Suddenly a hail of daggers came flying at him. And then the Reaper said she should go her own way. Now she is not so confident in herself. The snake was delighted by the appearance of the Reaper. After all, he can kill her and get the money. But the Reaper immediately showed that she would not give up without a fight. And things were going badly for Sean. The clown broke his sword and will soon break him too. Thus proving that Sean doesn't stand a chance against him. He asked Sean to be a good boy, and then he wouldn't torture him. School bullies never got through. It was an unspoken rule, but at the moment, in the game, everything is completely different here. He can be killed. The clown hit Sean, but not hard, not even half-heartedly. And the clown told him why. Sean had no weapons left. It's time to learn your place. Sean has seen this before. Nothing has changed. He's even a loser in the game. Hayato shouted, "Stop hitting him, he's just a kid." The clown said, "So what? The blacksmith isn't going to talk nonsense about a crime. But this is not reality, and anything is possible here. Committing any crime is truly a stupid game. Here the laws are powerless. It's just a game. So he'll rip his arms off right now," Hayato shouted. Enough. She took it. She can take the inventory. So he asks the clown to let the boy go. Unexpectedly, Sean certainly didn't expect this. The clown seemed to agree, but then Sean grabbed him. And he shouted, "Enough already," which made Hayato decide that this guy would let him go. When Hayato gives away all his things, don't stand up for him. He knew from the very beginning that he was too weak to change something that he shouldn't have interfered with in the first place. But he didn't want to live like a coward in the game. The clown said it was too late. Sean was already shaking and crying like a child. He knows what Sean is going through, because he's seen it before. As the clown spoke, he moved closer and closer to Sean. And Sean thought about what to do, what he did when he encountered difficulties. He relied on his own strength to win, but he had no Leviathan. Nothing else he could use. To be honest, all this is pointless. There is nothing in Sean's inventory. There are no influential friends who could give you something for free. There are no skills. And he was never interested in managing his inventory. Yes, hell will freeze over faster than events change. But suddenly, the clown had seen this sword before, and the snake thought the sword was expensive. The mask replied, "It is worthless, but this sword is rare. Even though it is unique, no one would be foolish enough to buy it." The clown just laughed and called Sean's sword a toy. Sean didn't know where he got this sword. Didn't know that it was a gift from Jason. He took this sword in his hands for the first time and tried to remember the name of the sword. The Reaper suggested that I pronounce the sword's name to activate its unique abilities. Sean attacked, but the clown's stone skin withstood the blow. Or so he thought. It seemed the sword worked. The outsider's sword. Its power grows depending on the level difference between you and your opponent. Reaches its maximum when the opponent's skills are twice yours. It's only effective when you're a loser. Then the clown remembered that the price of materials for making a sword was prohibitively high. And now the clown realized that things were bad. And Sean finally remembered the name of the sword. Calling the name Armageddon, Sean attacked the clown. Hell just froze over. Sean moved beyond the dead point. It seemed like the clown was ashamed to lose to someone like Sean. Barely rising, he shouted that he would make Sean beg for death. He promised to tear pieces out of Sean. He was always thinner than other guys, and because of this he was bullied. And not only over him, but also over his grandmother. But he was not going to tolerate insults directed at his grandmother. That day he was beaten with particular cruelty, just as Mickey graduated from school. But he didn't have money for college, and that's when he heard about this game. It turned out he had talent. He chose the Druid class. Even that was easy for him. But even here he faced bullying. He still remembers that day. It was the most exciting feeling. What he was experiencing, and while he was slowly crushing every bone in their bodies, he tested power through violence, and also made a lot of money beating people up. Then he decided that he had been a fool to try to live honestly, and so a new villain was born. Now his left arm has stopped working. Sean wanted to attack before Mickey got confused. He tried to understand what the enemy's weaknesses were. Mickey has high defense but low health, and if Sean lands one strong punch, he can win. Sean ran towards him, but Mickey kicked him. Then the ground beneath Sean's feet crumbled, and now again a whole rock stood before Sean. Luckily, Sean was smart enough to jump back. Looks like Sean has learned to maneuver. We'll rejoice later, but the main thing now is to survive. Mickey is serious, just one hit and it's over. And Mickey used his wild breeze skill. It can become as heavy as a rock and as light as a feather. And not only that, he had the rose weapon skill. The rose thorns exploded like bombs. Sean's in trouble if Mickey keeps shooting from above. He won't have the opportunity to attack back. Sean has to get him to come down somehow. But how? And Mickey was unhappy with his rose. Shooting with your hand is inaccurate, and there is not enough endurance. Suddenly he thought of something and rushed down. That's what Sean wanted, but the shockwave was insane. He can barely stand on his feet thanks to the sword. But luck is not reliable. Mickey was able to hit Sean. Hayato was afraid for Sean and called for him. Mickey replied that there was no need to worry. He had only offended him. On purpose, he won't be able to sell it while Sean is alive. Sean was afraid of a counterattack if he went straight at him. That's why he forced me to dodge his jump first, to deliver a clean blow instead. One more landing like that, and it's the end for Sean. This is his last chance, Sean said in a low voice that Mickey had screwed up. After all, he allowed him to win. He found a way to nullify his skill. Mickey just chuckled and said that he must have hit him on the head too hard. He struck again with the stone skin, and Sean flew back. Sean was barely able to stand, so Mickey decided that Sean was lying to him. Sean didn't find any weaknesses, but just in case. He decided to break the bones, but he had a strange feeling. Something familiar, as if time had stopped. Although everything else flashes through his head, and then Mickey realized what he felt. The same feeling he had experienced countless times before his death. A feeling he never wanted to experience in reality. His whole life flashed before his eyes. Sean stabbed Mickey with his sword and won. Then he went to help Hayato. Then Hayato confessed that he thought Sean was a fool for staying, but now he regrets it. Sean admitted that he was simply lucky, but Hayato didn't think so. He asked to be carried to the cart. They must find the Reaper, because she is also a newbie. This means that it is in danger and has no allies. A crazy woman ran and sang along among the corpses. Jason was with her, but she just wouldn't shut up. The butcher told her to stop singing that stupid song. And that's exactly what Ayla wanted, to attract Jason's attention. Then she asked him how he liked the trick for raising the level that she showed him. All this carnage is very Jason-esque. He liked it here better than on the island. He sped up the level up with Tupu's trick. If you kill a boss alone, or 100 players of your level, or someone higher up, something like that. But Jason was bored. He killed all these players. He considered them weaker, the Reapers. But Ayla said that was for now. Only 1 in 1,000 players reaches level 41. If he achieves this, he will be idolized. Which is strange, because to do this you need to kill. Jason told Ayla not to brag. She was level 43. Isla advised Jason to work harder. If he does not become respectable, he will be unnecessary. Jason had no doubt in himself and said, for him it's okay. Or even for Sean. Without realizing it, Sean had raised his level by 8 notches. Sean noticed the traces of the battle and asked the snail to follow them. Unfortunately, the snake was alive and very happy. He slowly digested the Reaper and paralyzed her with poison. But the idiot relaxed too much and regretted it. The Reaper tore his throat from the inside and broke free. Of course, she won't let herself be killed so easily. And she will not let him die easily. The snake asked if his poison paralyzed everyone. The Reaper answered, she has immunity. Even in real life, it's time to mock. She is ready to tear him to pieces. The snake said that she should gloat, because she couldn't handle Mickey. He will avenge him. Before he could finish speaking, the Reaper killed him. I made strawberry jam out of it. She was complaining about being dirty when Sean called her. He quickly realized that there was no need to worry. The Reaper asked if he had found her after all. She was still his best option. And only then did Sean remember who he was dealing with. The Reaper is the terror of the island of noobs, ruthless and abnormal. Sean doubted that he could be friends with her. The Reaper told Sean to hurry before Mickey came for them. They can't let Hayato's sacrifice go in vain. Sean said that Hayato was still alive and they went to him. Hayato's condition is at its worst. A cheap potion won't help. The Reaper regretted running away, since those guys were weak. Hayato objected. He praised Sean, which made the Reaper decide that they were up to something. Sean shouted that everything was wrong and now was not the time to argue. The Reaper sighed and said that she would go and look around. After all, there could be the same people nearby who are hunting them. She left Sean to look after Hayato. Mykurgs are naturally endowed with keen eyesight, but all those experiments that were carried out on the Reaper, just as they improved it, making it unique, she noticed the old man. Suspicious, the Reaper decided to find out what was going on. She said she needed to heal someone. Why shouldn't he go with her while she asks nicely? The alchemist, Wei, was level 42 and said the Reaper would do well to familiarize herself with the rules of etiquette. And whoever it would not be difficult to heal, the Reaper said that he did not look like a healer. If he tries to deceive her, he will definitely regret it. Wei said he was asking the stranger for a favor, but his words were filled with threats. She will kill anyone who crosses her path without a second thought. The Reaper told Wayne to slow down. She doesn't respect old people. Wei said she was underestimating him, talking as if she had the advantage. Despite the significant gap in level, the Reaper stated that she had just killed a snake whose level was much higher than hers, which made me wonder what it would be like to get to the old man. Wei stated, and indeed, regardless of the accumulated stats, such an old dog doesn't stand a chance against the young ones. The Reaper was surprised that he broke the bottle of potion. Suddenly the whole earth shook, Wei explained. It was the solution. Touching the ground, it absorbs the surrounding elements and takes shape, pre-specified by its creator. Usually the resulting form reaches human parameters, but with enough luck, the result can be impressive. Golem Wei is level 52 and he is gigantic. Wei said he admits she is strong, but she can't win now. Players above level 40 are the top league. Therefore, he suggests retreating now. He doesn't want to accept harm to a woman, even if she is a murderer. How magnanimous. Sean became worried when he saw the golem. Hayato realized that the Reaper lacked tact, and she angered the dangerous player if the Reaper died. Let him leave it here and take the cart. Sean was against it. But Hayato explained that Sean was wanted, and it would be easier for him to get help alone. She asked Sean to inspect the scene. Wei asked if she was going to leave. He didn't know she was crazy. Of course she attacked. Retreating was not in her nature, so the Reaper used Dandelion Blast. She decided that this would help her win. The Reaper said that the golem looked strong, but the old man himself was weak. Well, it was her mistake. Her blades didn't even leave a scratch on him. Wei admitted that she was good. Even the venerable ones would have a hard time inventing such a skill. If the Reaper had normal vision, she would not have found this scene so stunning. It wasn't that the old man moved like a kung fu master, rather he seemed clumsy, like a man trying to swat away a midge. It was as if nothing threatened him at all, not a single dagger touched him. Even the Reaper became scared after this. We explained that it was instinct, another word for luck. With a high number of stats, what seemed impossible becomes possible. The Reaper was seriously scared and decided to run away. The golem's hand didn't even touch her, but the shockwave simply knocked her off her feet. Shanu appeared at that moment. The Reaper fell on him. It looked like Sean had passed out, probably taking the brunt of her fall. Wei noticed Sean and said that it puzzled him, that someone could be reckless enough to become her ally. He is usually happy to heal any innocent bystanders, but this time he will make an exception. The Reaper was shaking. She remembered how Sean had helped her, and Wei had still allowed them to leave. For the first time in her life, the Reaper chose to put her pride aside. Instead of fighting, even as a soldier, she was disobedient. She had never thought twice about leaving Sean before. The Reaper asked for forgiveness for the first time and promised to pay any price, Wei asked. And she won't even try to escape, so she asks to heal this child. She herself did not expect this, just like Wei. He said, from what he had heard, the Reaper was not one to kneel before others. Or maybe it's another trick, waiting to pounce on him. When he comes down, he won't be that stupid. Suddenly, the Reaper stabbed herself in the leg, to prove that she is telling the truth. And she promised that she would do the same with the other leg if he was afraid. She asked for help again. Wei said it was not necessary. She was the initiator, but now she asks for forgiveness. It was nothing but gaslighting, and yet Wei sympathized. And he said enough moralizing. Despite the huge difference, he behaves excessively cautiously. He will take her word for it. She can take him where he needs to go. Finally, Sean woke up, and he thought that he had died from the clutches of something huge. Hayato came up to him and he noticed that Hayato was as good as new. Hayato said that it was all thanks to Wei's potion. The Reaper somehow managed to lasso a big shot. Hayato told Sean to thank Wei. They introduced themselves, and Sean told them where they were going. Wei said they had chosen a bad time. We could have seen more if we had gone earlier. Wei lived in the Black Castle. Sean shouted to the Reaper about it, and that they should invite him to the team. Then she got angry. She didn't want to pick up every person she met. I think she was just awkward, that's all. Sean didn't understand why she had such a reaction. He didn't know that this was the first time she had to ask someone for something. Hayato also wanted to invite Wei to the team, and Wei himself was not against it. But the Reaper was capricious. She was too embarrassed. Suddenly Wei said, "It seems there is no choice." The Reaper decided that her whims had worked. But Wei said he was burdened by this attitude towards him, especially after the help they provided. Having taken out the potion, he hinted at his power, and the Reaper had to give in. So the four of them set off on their journey. And the Reaper was still being capricious. Then Wei said, "How unexpected," when she begged him to save Sean's life, and even harmed herself. To prove his point, he believed that she had feelings for Sean. The Reaper blushed and started screaming that everything was wrong. Sean was also surprised. Then she started showering him with insults. We added, "How angry," which infuriated the Reaper. But she couldn't swear for long. They were attacked again. Another team of weirdos that found them. It seems that everyone found out about their journey. The weirdo had just started showing off when his head was blown off. Wei couldn't stand these weirdos and killed them with a golem. He smeared them like insects. Wei said they could move on. Meeting Wei was the luckiest thing that could have happened to them. After the first attack, they were oppressed by the knowledge that they would not survive another attack. They were attacked 4 times in one day. But the worries were in vain. Wei is really cool. One day, a guy showed up, a level higher than Wei. Sean thought that this was definitely the end for them. But it turned out that he was Wei's friend. They were having a nice conversation, and the Reaper became thoughtful. Who is this old man? It seems he is more mysterious than they thought. And so, thanks to Wei, they reached the Black Castle. Tower of Inviolability, halfway there. All that remains is to register to be reborn here. The Reaper asked what the yellow thing on top was. We replied, "It is inviolability. The tower was built here for a reason. A formless sacred flame that can take any form. Damned creatures will never come into contact with him." Wei told the boys to behave decently in the tower. They won't even touch them if they follow their rules. A familiar girl noticed the boys. She clearly didn't expect to see them here. This is what the castle looks like from the inside. Invisible steps, the quartering area. At the very top, the only place where violence is permissible is the military court. It seems the Reaper was bored here. There is always a city with religious fanatics. The Reaper called them weirdos who even invented a religion in the game. Suddenly Roxana came and asked not to offend the believers. Discrimination and insults are not welcome within these walls. The tower keeps a close eye on individuals with questionable reputations. But the abnormal Reaper didn't give a damn about their laws. They were allowed into the city, and she insulted Roxana. She intended to try to piss her off. Roxanne said they didn't talk much, but she already understood why the Reaper had such a reputation. Her arrogance has a detrimental effect on her partner, who should have chosen his companion more carefully. The Reaper said that this loser was following him around because she made him. So don't call him her partner. It's offensive. Don't poke your nose into other people's business. Roxanne warned that attacking her was tantamount to a death sentence. But then the fanatics shouted that they had a problem. It turned out that some genius touched the fire. The genius screamed in agony, and people watched and didn't know what to do. Then Alex came and smashed his head. People complained about the cruelty, but Alex explained, being burned alive is one of the most painful ways to die. Sean asked the Reaper not to make a scene, then Alex noticed her. Alex said she wasn't worthy of being here. The Reaper asked what if she didn't leave. He will also crush her skull. Alex challenged her to a duel. Sean asked her not to agree to this. This is a terrible tradition that existed many years ago. Based on the results of the duel, they decided which of the opponents was right. It was believed that the innocent man won because God helped him. The Reaper decided to make fun of her and accepted the duel. Shonu yelled why she was doing this. If she lost, she would end up in Delson. All their efforts would go to waste, but the Reaper told him to shut up. He kills out of boredom or out of a fleeting desire. She even wrung children's necks. She did not become a saint in these 2 days. He is naive, so he gets to know the knife time after time. They don't need each other anymore. He's safer without her. So there's no need to delay her. Alex and the Reaper went to a duel. Suddenly Miss Witch came and asked if he had been abandoned. Sean asked where she came from, and no, she wasn't his type. The little witch asked who was his type then. Sean listed them and she called him a pervert, then said, "Just kidding." She offered to show Sean around. We asked if he was sure he didn't want to go for a walk. Hayato explained that the problem was that the darkness in his soul prevented him from accepting the city, and he asked why Wei didn't inspect the city. We replied that he couldn't help himself. If you bump into a familiar face. Long ago, a strange boss monster appeared on the path between Delsona and the Black Castle. The head was shaped like a cross, which is how he got his nickname. He had a unique ability that made him stand out from other bosses. He resurrected his victims, turning them into mindless minions. They were always stuck in the game. His army grew. The cross plunged the entire universe into chaos. Even the GM was unable to do anything. Then the players united to overthrow him. During the war, players who decided to fight back against the cross, I had to face his monstrous ability. Every loss increased his army. The war was clearly lost. Hope was gone, and everyone prepared for the worst-case scenario. Suddenly a miracle happened. The fire killed the cross. And around this fire they built a castle. This little witch is much more mysterious than we thought. She said, amazing, she's talking about this game. No one made any attempt to resolve it. Around 1 million people across the universe never returned from this game. But no one made a big fuss about it, all over the world. The game is full of secrets, and Sean wouldn't want to discover them along with it. He is a good man, so she thinks he is not worth wasting her time with. On the assassins, she invites him to join the Information Carriers Guild. He promises to do everything in his power to be warmly received. This is an incredibly generous offer from such a strong player. Meanwhile, a duel began at the top. Use of potion and third-party assistance is prohibited. The Reaper asked if this place was supposedly holy. So why the hell are bets being accepted here? Alex replied that witnesses were needed at the trial. Part of the proceeds goes to the tower. Everyone chose Alex. And the Reaper said they don't understand what a cool warrior she is. Suddenly someone said that he was betting on the Reaper. He thinks there's a reason they call her a Reaper. They tried to dissuade him, but the Reaper said, let him bet more. He won't be able to make a better bet than this. The ant actually obeyed. The cadets will form a protective barrier around them until the battle ends. Roxana announced the start of the duel, and the Reaper immediately attacked. But Alex grabbed her and threw her towards the fire. The Reaper masterfully changed her trajectory in flight, and then she asked what was wrong with his armor. Alex explained that the armor was forged in the flames of inviolability. Only a priest or a paladin can wear them, otherwise they will burn alive in them. The Reaper asked if such armor was considered an illegal move. The whole point of religious fanatics is to change the rules and take credit for it, to decide arbitrarily what is right and what is wrong. The Reaper had no intention of breaking his armor. She wanted to gouge out his eyes through the slits in his helmet. Here Alex used the armor and illuminated everything with it, and then he struck the Reaper with his hammer. A wave of fire flew forward. The Reaper was not visible. The boys laughed at their friend. Having decided that the Reaper was finished, this blow was all the same. That the flashbang grenade, given the Reaper's vision, would have a catastrophic effect. And Alex began to reproach the Reaper for all her sins. And he promised to spare her if she repented. And our stupid hero refused the witch's offer. Instead of solving mysteries, he preferred ordinary murders. He decided to make his life more difficult. And continue your journey with the Reaper. Until she tells him to leave, he will stay, even though she told him to. The Reaper's passed. She asked her dad not to give her the injection. Dad said it was her duty and honor. She should accept it. The Reaper asked why not a brother or sister, since they were older. Mom cried yesterday when she told me what would happen. The little Reaper cried and said that it hurt. She stood up and asked what had happened to chivalry. Can a knight beat women? Alex replied. If she is looking for understanding, she should change her attitude. Her past misfortunes do not justify her crimes. The Reaper just said that they annoyed her. And she resorted to a hidden ability. All the wounds disappeared. She sped up her metabolism. And in just a split second she attacked Alex. He fell to the ground, and the Reaper said that she would never apologize. She made a pincushion out of his face. And the Reaper continued to talk nonsense about the game. And I added, in case anyone has problems with this, they can attack. She is not yet full. Suddenly Alex stood up and declared that this was not the end. Roxana said that was enough. But Alex said, no, she calls it fun. This place is full of riffraff who only care about their own pleasure. Torture, cannibalism, any atrocities. Justifying themselves by saying that it is just a game. The victims are traumatized for life. The Reaper said how good it was. She wanted the baby. The one she tortured was haunted by the memories of it. She continued to spout this nonsense. Alex got angry and attacked her, but the Reaper deftly dodged every blow. Roxanne screamed at Alex to stop, but he still fell into the Reaper's trap. It seems the battle is over. The Reaper began to laugh at Alex. Ant asked Roxy to lower her armor so he could fight her. The Reaper asked, a worthless sense of justice awakening. People started shouting that it was all a setup. They gathered and continued arguing. Ant stated that he is not doing this out of revenge. He uses daggers too. He has a lot to learn from her. The witch screamed that the Reaper had just abandoned him. And even if he stays with her, what next? Arrange dates by killing innocent players. The witch said the Reaper killed someone again. She brings with her only death. It's not easy for him in reality. So why does he choose the difficult path? She knows what to do. Let him wait for her here. Sean asked what she wanted to do. The witch said that as soon as the Reaper died, he would be free. The Reaper decided that this was something new. But she asked, ants can lift 30 times their own weight. He can do that, Ant replied. No. Can handle 25 times more. The Reaper replied, it's a scam. It's because of the operation. He will live for 20 years at most. The battle ended quickly. It was too easy to predict his actions. Despite the fact that he has 4 legs, Ant asked if she would kill him. The Reaper replied that she only kills certain people. People like that poser, Roxy said. With such skills, the Reaper doubted it. Still believes in himself after the performance. Then let her show what she's capable of, Roxy said. She's an observer. The witch flew in and said that she was next. The Reaper told her to go do her homework. The girl also believed that the witch should not fight her. But they just didn't know who she was. People weren't happy either, shouting that it was nonsense. The witch said that the rumors about her arrogance were true. Does she know why clichés are so popular in movies? When the hero kicks the bandit's ass, that's a cathartic moment. This is exactly what awaits the Reaper. The witch called upon her abilities, but the Reaper dodged and attacked her. Anyone will say that a girl with a fragile physique will never defeat a Reaper. On the other hand, since when has there been a grain of common sense in this game? Sean climbed up but was already exhausted. He is like a pathetic dog that is thrown away time and again, but he goes back to his tyrant master. Sean himself knows that staying with her will not restore his reputation. Are they really that close that he is ready to reject a substantial offer? They traveled for only 2 days, and the Reaper was puzzled and did not understand what was happening. She could have sworn she hit hard to crush her skull, but it felt like she had hit a rock mass. She's as tough as that paladin, or even worse. The Reaper asked if she had also experimented on herself. The Dragon Lady replied, "Don't think that they are similar. She did nothing of the sort. It's easy to become strong. It's more important to have talent. The same skill can manifest itself in different ways." The Reaper said the little one has a high opinion of herself. The lady replied, "No, someone stronger than her." Or the Reaper thought he was exceptionally lucky. He is an absolute diamond, which is why everyone thought Sean was incredible. But he missed his chance by getting involved with a killer. The lady created 2 plants and fired them. People were shocked and couldn't believe their eyes. But it seemed the Reaper was still alive. She cut the plants and attacked the lady. The lady said if her speed can't do damage, how it differs from a fly. The Reaper struck with all her might, but the lady only received a scratch. Although the Reaper has strengthened her powers, and the lady is only level 25, the Reaper was captured. The Reaper was crucified, and the lady even spat fire. She began to fall asleep. The poison had no effect on her. But this is not poison, but sleeping powder. It usually puts people to sleep for a couple of hours. But given her condition, who knows how long its effects will last. People were shouting that it was too easy. Even the Reaper is too tough for the lady. No wonder. She is the only student of the famous June. Among the druids, she enjoys special honor. She apparently decided not to raise her level. The lady said it was time for the Reaper to learn her place, but she was unable to swing her sword. Sean grabbed her shoulder with his magic. He asked her to stop. Lady clearly did not expect this. The crocodile asked how the child got through the barrier. And here is the reason. The barrier caster was knocked out by the explosion. The guard told his colleague that things were about to get hot, and he needed to be prepared. One player, who had bet all his money on the priestess, realized what was happening. And he shouted, "This is a violation. The results of the battle cannot be counted. An outside player has invaded the battlefield. The duel must be stopped." Other players who also bet on the Reaper joined in. Those who bet on the lady got angry. A player from the Virus Guild stated that those who deny the outcome of the duel will die. But at this moment, the player was attacked earlier. The dog also bet on the Reaper, so he was for the others. In short, a real massacre began. The guard tried to calm them down, but her colleague told her not to overexert herself. If they were sane people, they wouldn't bet such amounts. Roxy told Sean he interrupted the court-martial. That's a serious offense. Usually this kind of chaos doesn't follow, but this time it was special. He climbed the steps for such a stupid act. Roxy put the holy handcuffs on him. The verdict will have to wait. First we need to deal with the riot, but he can prepare himself to be out of the game for several weeks. Roxy shouted at the cadets, "They mustn't let this chaos get to them. The situation will stabilize soon. They should get together. Let the wounded soldiers be evacuated downstairs, along with the spectators who were involuntarily drawn into this farce. The rest must unite in pairs and suppress the rebellion. Let them remember what they were taught. Let them prove that they are worthy of being called cadets," the lady thought. She managed to instantly attract everyone's attention. "Stop the panic and give orders. It's not for nothing that she became an instructor," the lady asked. And what was he thinking? Everything got out of control. At least he understands what this prank threatens her with. They will make a martyr out of him. The lady was ashamed. She believed that it was her fault in some way. So she decided to help. She decided to free him. But Sean needs to get out of here immediately, and let him take his girlfriend with him. He needs to escape before the riot ends. Roxy approached the rioters. The players were still arguing. She explained that the duel only ends if one player dies. So, the duel is really cancelled. The dog was gloating, but Roxy said there was no need to celebrate. If they hadn't made a fuss, they would have received a refund. Realizing that he would not see any money, the dog attacked Roxy. But he immediately regretted his decision. The other one got nervous. Roxy said she would get a refund if she didn't make any trouble, and then Roxy went to deal with the other rioters. It seems like she will take control of the situation very quickly. Sean asked the Reaper to wake up. It was time for them to run. Finally, she woke up and said that she had had a strange dream. Sean explained that he woke her up because he needed to tell her something before he leaves, but time is running out. That's why he explained to her on the way that they had to leave. Roxy dealt with most of it herself. The boys ran away. Sean told what happened while the Reaper was sleeping. And one more thing, he doesn't think he can continue on this journey with her. He broke the rules of the tower. They won't leave him alone so easily. The Reaper began to scold him for thinking that she was heartless. After all, he ended up in trouble because of her. Sean pointed out to her where the steps were, but he didn't have time. Roxy ran up to them and it seemed she was unhappy. And she asked Sean if she hadn't told him to stay put. She would have shown him due mercy if he had listened. But now he will get what he deserves. The witch stopped her and Roxy asked what it meant. The witch said that she had freed him and promised to compensate him for the damage. So couldn't she let him go? Roxy replied. Miss had crossed the line. The Reaper asked why the little one was so eager to help Sean. Roxy replied that she had no doubt that June's student could afford to spend a considerable amount of money. But it seems that Miss underestimates immunity. There are no riches for which they neglect the rules of the tower. The guard grabbed the Miss and asked to call the cadets. He can't hold her alone. The Reaper said that maybe they would let them go in peace. But Roxy replied that they wouldn't let him go. Let her go alone, Roxy declared. They had all seen the limits of the Reaper's abilities. The Reaper was offended by this and challenged her. Miss shouted at Sean not to interfere with this. There was no time to relax, but our fool decided to help the Reaper. 2 against 1, Roxy didn't mind. She was ready to punish both of them. The Reaper attacked from behind, and Sean grabbed her with his magic. But Roxy deflected the Reaper's daggers with her bare hands. And then she decided to attack Sean, deciding that if he was a magician, so he's not that good in close combat, so she wanted to take him out. Sean ran away in panic. Roxy thought he had no experience. However, Sean pulled out his loser's sword. He attacked her, but Roxy dodged the attack. And she said, "It turns out that Sean is the owner of an extremely deadly weapon." So the screams and escape were a pretense. She admits that the surprise attack was good, but he lacks the physical strength to finish the job. Roxy was attacked from the front and from behind, simultaneously. And Roxy somehow managed to repel their attacks. The Reaper said that one-on-one she might screw up, but together they would kick her ass. The witch grabbed every cadet, and because of Sean and the Reaper, there was complete chaos in the tower. Miss had dealt with half of their team, and the cadet was worried that Roxy was in danger. But the guard wasn't worried. He said that Roxy's strength was second only to the venerable ones. The witch's forces were also running out. Some of the cadets were good. They went through this chaos and received nothing more than light scratches. If they join the fight, even she won't be able to stop them, she says about Khan. Mayu said that Khan ordered the cadets to be gathered, but the crocodile declared that there were already enough of them. He wasn't going to help. Nile was level 40, and he thought that Mayu alone was enough, and all because she was level 41st. And the Reaper decided that they were succeeding, and that was the end of the upstart. Roxy got really angry and said they seemed very proud of it, which meet their basic standards. She was cured, and the Reaper screamed that it was a scam. Sean understood their situation and said there was no point in scolding her. Roxy said it was clear they had been fighting side by side for a long time. In a single battle, she would defeat each of them in less than a minute. If she had her way, she would have punished him as an example to others. But one of them will have to be killed, the Reaper told Sean. Don't take her words seriously. They are together with him against her, Sean shouted, and attacked Roxy. And the Reaper attacked Roxy from behind. Roxy also believed that although Sean was inferior to the Reaper in the art of fighting, he poses a much greater threat. Sean's movements are chaotic and strange, despite their clumsiness. Sean does everything to win, Roxy attacked the Reaper. But Shona had plunged his sword into her back first. The Reaper said, "Impressive, Roxy almost got it." But she deliberately portrayed the bait. It seems Sean didn't know about her plan. They started arguing, but then Sean thought, "Why is Roxy still standing?" The sword pierced her, all thanks to her skill, which allows her to avoid death once. The Reaper wasn't the only one who used herself as bait. Her skill is simply a spell that pushes the opponent back. But behind lies the flame of inviolability. As he flew into the fire, Sean had time to think that he would perish in the fire. And getting burned is one of the most painful ways to die. The skin will melt and the lungs will turn to dust. Still flying, he began to scold himself for helping the Reaper. He was angry that she was stubborn and wondered why he followed her. Because she lent a helping hand when he needed it. No, for some reason he admired her. The way she fearlessly and confidently walked in defiance of everything. What was different about Sean was why he was drawn to her. He didn't want her to give up. He didn't care about her personality. He wanted to live the way she lived. He kept thinking about a bunch of things, and in the end, he decided to shout to the Reaper to save herself. He thought their journey wasn't that bad. His flight lasted forever, and Sean continued to dream. So that the Reaper would stop killing so often and not insult everyone. By all rights, something happened that had never happened before. The fire of immunity disappeared as Sean flew into it, and then the priestess caught him. Sean said he was definitely dead. He didn't think he would survive it. The Reaper said that it was time for them to run away, and Han called Roxy, and he said he felt the blessing of fire nearby. Of course, it came from our loser. Mayu said he was a walking disaster. The boy fell into the flames, and it suddenly exploded and disappeared, without a single burn on it. Han shouted at Roxy that she had to catch the boy. This kid has absorbed the power of the flame. He can't be missed. But Sean and the Reaper were helped once again. Khan shouted how long the Dragon Lady would be underfoot. The Reaper didn't understand what they were grinding there. But if he is caught doing something worse, the lady shouted to the Reaper. So she followed her, but Neil stood in their way. He said they couldn't appropriate the guild's property. The Reaper understood that the lizard was stronger than Roxy, but the lady was not going to stand aside. However, Mayu did not let her interfere with the lizard, and Khan finished her off and told Mayu to hold her tighter. Roxy told them to hold on tight. The lady would break free as soon as they loosened their grip. The lizard didn't know how to get the fire back out of Sean, so I decided to just kill Sean, but it seemed the Reaper had no intention of giving Sean up and was serious. The lizard asked if this was the trick she used to kill Alex. He instantly defeated the Reaper, then went after Sean, who was lucky enough to get hold of the legendary weapon. The lizard said that Sean would have to stay with them. Roxy asked for doves to be sent to double crosses around the world. They need to get the fire out of Sean, Hans asked. Are these psychopaths needed too? Roxy said no one would get hurt if they went to the meeting. Sean said he doesn't understand what their fire is, but he understands that all this happened because of him, so he will do whatever they say. He just asks to let them go. The lizard replied, of course, he would do whatever they said. They will let the lady go, but they are unlikely to let the Reaper go. Suddenly, Wei's golem appeared and ordered them to be released. Alas, he went against the fire for the sake of some boy. As he grew older, his ability to reason clearly began to fail him. But they have to let them go. No one from the double cross stepped forward, despite the terrible turn of events. Apparently, they are not in the tower today. A fortunate coincidence. The golem extended his hand, but the lizard tried to stop him. So the golem lost his arm because of the cadet. We asked if all the cadets were so capable these days. The lizard replied, no, he was special. And he asked who this old man was. Roxy answered, Wei, the head of the Black Castle. Neil thought he wasn't something to be afraid of, but Roxy warned him. Don't underestimate him. His true power is much greater than you would expect from his level. It is Wei who keeps the castle from falling and keeps the masks under control. Wei hit his staff and 2 more golems appeared, and they were level 61 and 58. These golems ensured victory during the siege of the Black Castle. Also mini golems, but just as strong. It seemed like everyone was going out of their way to help a stranger who was a loser. Roxy told them not to waste their energy on the small golems. Mayu asked, but how are they supposed to destroy that giant? The lizard said, why destroy it if you can take the easy way out? He threw lightning at Wei, but he was able to dodge the attack. That lightning even destroyed part of the mountain. The lizard decided to strike again, but this time a little to the left. He asked Roxy to put a buff on him. Roxy asked if he could handle it. The lizard answered, with a stretch perhaps. The golems dragged the Reaper, who still hadn't woken up. Noticing this, our hero also decided to escape in the same way. But it didn't work. Roxy destroyed the golem and said that because of the child, everything was in chaos. She doesn't know who he is, but he must return the fire immediately. Before Roxy could finish speaking, she was attacked by the Dragon Lady. She was freed because Mayu and Hana were captured by the golem. Mayu asked Hana not to move, as golems react to movement. But Khan didn't care if he died. It was more important to bring back the fire. And the lady explained that now Sean would be pursued by hunters in this guild. He could have lived peacefully, but it didn't work out. The lady asked him to stay closer to Wei. Sean asked why she was helping him when he couldn't give her anything in return. It seems she knows him in real life. Because of him, the players will get angry with her. The lady interrupted Sean and said she wouldn't regret it. Besides, do you really need a reason to help? The day will come when he will be happy both here and in reality. He doesn't have to go with her. She just wants to participate in his personal growth. The lady's warm words touched our hero. But the sweet moment didn't last long. They were still being attacked. Wei said he didn't want to interrupt their conversation. But there is no time. The golem is about to collapse. The lizard kept shouting that they couldn't let Sean get away with the fire. So many people died. If it weren't for this fire, all the players would be dead. His speech was interrupted. The golem slapped him like a bug. But the lizard did not die. With the blessing of eternal life, he should wake up soon. And before that happens, it's time to run away. Wei asked if the lady would go with them. She thanked him for the offer. But she refused, because people were waiting for her, and promised to find allies. Wei wished for the impossible, for the Reaper to be as polite as a lady. Suddenly the golem collapsed. Fortunately, the boys were safe. Roxy didn't want to give up. That fire meant a lot to them. But they were still held back by 2 golems. The situation is far from ideal. They will have to retreat. It is impossible to hide the disappearance of significant artifacts. Only a few knew the identity of the kidnapper. The double crosses learned about this too. Without the flame, players will not be able to craft weapons or learn skills. Yuki, level 43, asked if there was any information about the criminal. A colleague said that many have seen his face, and the difficulties are only in his allies. Yuki didn't understand why Wei stood up for Sean. She asked him not to spread the word about the missing fire. Only now, in the tower, did Yuki realize how empty it felt without the fire. Suddenly, frightened members of the guild came running and started screaming in panic. Then Yuki blessed them and asked if the anxiety subsided. And she said that the tower would be restored soon. She needed them to calm down. Having calmed the children down, Yuki decided to go to the quartering area. She also ordered to collect all the double crosses. With the flame gone, the necromancers will be emboldened to attack at any moment. They are obliged to bring back the fire at any cost. Tired after the battle, the lady was walking through the forest when June told her. This time she outdid herself. The lady immediately apologized. And she wanted to tell everything, but June told her to take a breath. June already knew everything. He was only interested in her arguments. Why did she make the guild immune to her enemies? The lady said that Sean was the son of the man who saved her life. Without his help, she would have died of hunger therefore. June interrupted her and said he understood she had no choice. Then he called to Marcy, who appeared behind him in an instant. She is level 40. June asked her to protect the lady. What didn't please the lady at all was Marcy's crazy character, which was too much for her. But there is no other choice. She will have to endure. The lady was worried about what would happen if the double crosses united against June. June replied that it would never come to that. He fought with everyone. He has no equal. The Reaper finally woke up. She felt ashamed that she had passed out again. Sean added, but they escaped safely thanks to Mr. Wei. Suddenly Sean decided it was time for them to get to know each other better. And not here, but in reality, of course. The Reaper did not like this idea. Sean sheepishly offered to exchange numbers with the Reaper. And although the Reaper tried to laugh it off, it was obvious that she was also embarrassed. But Sean didn't notice and started mumbling apologies again. Then the Reaper shouted, "Stop whining, she will tell you her number. But only once, so let him listen carefully." Wei added his number to their already awkward conversation. To this the Reaper said, "You need to know your place." Wei replied. It's funny to hear that from someone who teased the lady and got it from her. The quarrel quickly ended as they arrived at the Black Castle. It's a crime town. The Reaper warned Sean not to bend over for soap. Sean, of course, didn't understand anything. They went out and saw a destroyed city. The Reaper asked where he had brought them. It was not a city, but ruins. Wei replied that the castle had not always looked like this. It used to be full of life. The crowd was rough and rowdy, but he loved the city. And I didn't want to change it. But due to the fault of one person, the lock was almost worn out. Rin said that Sean didn't need to apologize to her for skipping classes. Even if he stops going to school, she knows about his bruises. No matter how he hid them, she would have filed a complaint. But she was just a housekeeper. But let him know that she will always be by his side. It was only thanks to Rin that Sean had lasted this long. During recess, when everyone was discussing the disappearance of the fire, Sean was talking to the Reaper. Not very successfully, and yet, suddenly his phone was snatched. The assholes started laughing and making fun of Sean. They laughed at what he was writing to her. And they started offering perverted messages. Then Sean jumped up and shouted at them, "No need." The assholes immediately got angry at Sean's reaction. But Sean kept looking at them. Then the asshole said that he would be in trouble now, and they started beating him. The main freak noticed this, and noticed that Sean was trying to fight back. For some reason he got angry and immediately started beating him. While not forgetting to humiliate Sean, he continued to beat him in front of his classmates. Nobody was going to help him. This guy's name is Sid. Sean will remain at the bottom of the food chain as long as Sid is around. Sid has been training in mixed martial arts since elementary school, and it uses this for purposes other than self-defense. For some reason, this guy didn't particularly like Sean. Sid believed that if Sean had wanted to, he could have beaten everyone in the room except him. Black Castle, inner city. The Reaper was there and drinking. She talked about how much she liked the free beer. Guild member Lime, level 40, said he wouldn't take payment from the future champion. Sean asked how she managed to get so drunk in the game. The Reaper said, "Here comes the little pervert who wrote her dirty messages." Lime greeted Sean, and it turned out he already knew who he was. Sean tried to convince the Reaper that he wasn't the one who wrote those messages. It seems the Reaper was drunk and didn't mind having some fun with him. Zyme seemed to be interested in watching them. Sean said he couldn't take advantage of a girl in that situation. Intimate things should be done when sober. The drunk Reaper decided that Sean called her ugly and started crying. Wei and the stranger found Sean on the ground. Sean greeted him awkwardly, and Wei introduced his assistant, Nana. Nana is level 40. She is an alchemist and knew that Sean stole the flame. But the Reaper said that Sean was known for his harassment. Wei asked him to stop teasing the poor guy, and asked if he had met everyone. Sean replied, "Only with Nana and the bartender." Wei wanted to introduce him to everyone. There weren't many of them, Sean asked. "It will take a long time to build the castle," Wei replied. "The golems will dismantle everything in a couple of days. The problem is not that no matter how much they build, A city can be destroyed by one person. Nana decided to show Sean the neighborhood. Sean was not against the excursion. He was filled with many questions. Nana was ready to answer them, but warned him not to dare send her obscene messages. She showed the ruins and told what was there before. She was talking about shops with disgusting jewelry. He collected the bones of the players he killed. He's still here. Sean didn't want to meet him. Then Nana asked, "Why does he think Wei brought him here?" Naive Sean replied, "He's good." Nana responded, rather calculatingly, he saw potential in Sean. A powerful Reaper and a mysterious boy who took the flame. She thinks that at first Wei only planned to take the Reaper. But after what happened, I decided that Sean would be an ace in the hole. Sean was terrified by such responsibility, and again he began to languish over his own worthlessness. Suddenly someone asked if this guy had stolen the flame before throwing the boulder. Here comes the bone collector, Shane, level 40. And he was hostile. He tried to take the flame for himself. Nana seemed to be afraid of him too, she screamed. Shane thinks that Wei will just let him go. But Shane asked what she was talking about. She didn't notice. It turned out Shane hit the guy from the cross. He had already found 3. Shane thought they were cockroaches. Shane suggested that they make a new fire, like a huge bonfire. The guy started yelling and insulting Shane. Then he switched to Sean. He was so talkative that Shane got tired of him and crushed him. Then he said that Nana had somehow softened. In the old days, she would have noticed these punks right away. Shane turned to Sean and asked if he could at least say thank you to the little one. Sean thanked him awkwardly. Shane's response sounded strained. "Okay, let Nana take the little one, and he will take up collecting." Nana asked why he was doing this. No one would buy this nonsense. Shane replied that it was his hobby, not like that drug thing. This seemed to bother Nana and she attacked Shane. Shane said she was asking for trouble. Wei would rip their heads off for this. Although he won't do anything to her, he will blow dust off her. Nana, it turned out, was more mysterious. She turned around and told Sean to follow her. She told Sean to be more careful in choosing his friends. And she started whining. Then Sean saw himself from the outside. Then Nana asked if there was a reason why he played. Sean answered, at first for fun, at some point revenge. Now he is no longer sure. The Reaper might have been disappointed in him because of these words. Nana said that she wanted to become respectable. After all, once you gain status, life in the game becomes ideal. There is no need to pay for a subscription, and when you die, you don't return to reality. She plays 24/7. Everything was fine until she got into a fight with a member of one of the top guilds. Since then, she couldn't do anything. At some point, she had to put on a mask. Then she met Wei. Thanks to Wei, she did not continue to wander the world without means. Although this place is in ruins, once she called it home, it's a pity she didn't have enough strength to protect it. Sean promised that even though he was weak now, he would help her bring this place back. Former greatness when it becomes stronger. So they will stick together, Nana shouted. He is right. He inspired her. Sitting and whining is not the solution. From now on, she will help him. They will try together. The very next day, they began his training with Nana. Sean no longer feels lonely. There are people he can communicate with. The Reaper still made fun of Sean, but not as crudely as before, and she suggested having a glass of something cold. Sean reminded him that he was a schoolboy, and that he also had things to do with Nana. They agreed to practice all evening. It seems the Reaper has become jealous of Sean. She doesn't have any friends either, and she's lonely too, so she started being rude and insulting again. Sean didn't like it, and the Reaper asked why he didn't tell her anything. This is the first time she's heard about it, Sean replied. He's not obliged to report everything. He will pretend that he didn't hear her rudeness. You shouldn't say such things in front of Nana, it's impolite. The Reaper's feelings seemed to be hurt, although she tried not to show it. Then Shane came up to her and said that he had harshly refused her. The Reaper asked, using her huge ears to eavesdrop. Shane replied, but he doesn't chop up little kids for fun. The Reaper asked what he was doing there, Shane replied, bringing a message from the old man. He believes that double crosses will soon arrive here. The Reaper said that she had already understood this herself. Looks like they'll start playing for high stakes soon. She went to tell the little one about this and asked where Nana was. Sean was looking for Nana, but found Wei and asked. Had he seen Nana? Wei replied, she was already online at this time. Wei asked where the Reaper was. He called them both. Or he didn't know, Sean replied. He wasn't told. Then the bloody Reaper came. And she apologized for being late. It seems jealousy got the better of her. Sean asked what she was doing, and the Reaper answered. A girl should have her own secrets. We interrupted her and said that her level had increased. Who did she kill? The Reaper answered. What a stern voice. She was interested in what this nanny was going to teach his boy, so she decided to check. She only stabbed her a couple of times with a dagger, and that was it. It seems she got carried away and didn't notice how she died. She began to pretend to apologize. Wei said if the duel was agreed upon, he has nothing to say in response. He will not drive her away. Now it's time to discuss the news. Let both of them come up. The guild continues to send spies after them, and they have already caught 7 of them. Sooner or later, the double crosses will come. The Reaper asked, can't Wei just beat them up? We replied that he was nowhere near as strong as they were. All of them are respectable. equal in skill, strength, and level to the officers of the top guilds. If even one of them had been there that day, they would not have been able to escape. One day, a criminal organization transferred its illegal business into the game. They began selling drugs without attracting the attention of law enforcement agencies. But this organization made a mistake by turning one family from the Flame Guild into drug addicts. The consequences were dire. A single double cross wiped out the entire organization. Moreover, in real life, in the media, everyone disguised this. So it won't be possible to escape from them into reality. It's safer for Sean to stay in the game. Wei promised to do everything he could to help Sean. The Reaper said it would be easier if they came for her. She would have finished them off in a moment. It's unlikely. Wei gave them the documents. And he said that there was no point in passively spending time hiding from them. A list of classes available in the game, something like a profession. He will help them after they choose a class. Then he told the Reaper that there would be no second chance. To become a druid, one must become one with nature. The path to the paladin class lies through the Holy Grail. The Reaper said that Sean could have chosen. But Sean remained silent, and the Reaper asked if he was going through adolescence. Then Sean sternly asked why she killed her. The Reaper asked if they hadn't closed the topic. She still tried to laugh it off. Sean asked if she would kill anyone who wanted to be friends with him. Why is she behaving like this? He likes this place. Where will she go if she is kicked out of here? Then the Reaper hugged him and said that Sean was so worried about her. There's no need. It's profitable for the old man to keep her to himself. He became so assertive and persistent, but at the beginning I was afraid to even speak. After biting Sean, she said she killed Nana because she looked like a loser. She hadn't seen that expression for a long time. It reminded her of the old days on the island. If this irritates him, let him challenge her. Sean started screaming. It was obvious he couldn't defeat her. He started whining again about being a weakling. It was a terrible sight, the Reaper said. What a shame. If so, then he might bite back. Sean screamed, "No way, he's not a savage. They've been through so much together. There's no point in fighting each other. He doesn't want to be her enemy. He wants to be on her side." Without listening to the end of his whining, the Reaper told him to forget about what happened. The Reaper has always been selfish. She has never cared about people. But the wimp and the weakling was different. This weak-looking child gradually changes the Reaper, something she will never admit to. But Sean still couldn't choose a profession. Suddenly Sean saw a dragon slayer, naively decided to choose this one. He immediately ran to Wei and told him what he had chosen. Wants to be a dragon slayer, Wei asked if she wasn't crossed out. But Sean thought it was because the class was difficult. Wei said he crossed it out because he thought it was impossible. The NPC who gave the quest for this class is believed to have disappeared. In his opinion, this is an urban legend. When Mom was still here, players would come here to become a dragon slayer. All Yor did was sit and watch their attempts. She listened to their stories and ate their treats. So one day she declared that she wanted to leave the mountain to explore the world. Mom's eyes were so sad that Yor decided not to bring up the topic. The last thing she wanted was to upset her mother. Sean and Hayato were going to that mountain. Hayato said that you need to pump up your stats. But remembering Sean's stats, Hayato's spirit sank. If this were a different game, it would be easier to start from scratch. They took a frost-resistant potion because it was already cold, and even a bottle of poison in case of emergency. There's no way to go any further, Sean will have to walk. Hayato wished him luck, and Sean thanked Hayato for giving him a ride. Soon, our hero was running away from the monsters through the snow. He hadn't found any players yet, and these Yetis were level 30. While he was running, Sean was shouting, "Is there anyone alive? They are chasing him." And Yor heard Sean's cries for help, and Shauna ran to a dead end, and the monsters surrounded him. Sean screamed that he wouldn't give up so easily, but then he fell asleep. This moth puts enemies to sleep with its wings, and the Yetis were actually friendly. They chased him for fun. But when Yor arrived, the Yetis immediately moved away. Sean woke up in a warm cave. He immediately went out and met Carl. He asked, had he finally woken up? Sean decided that it was he who helped him and thanked him. Carl said that he was just taking a smoke break here, and that Yor saved his skin. Later, he could thank her personally. Then he asked, "Isn't he the guy everyone was looking for?" Finally, Sean became more cautious and drew his sword. Carl told him to calm down. Sean was no longer wanted. Sean didn't expect this, and asked what he was talking about. Carl explained that he was wanted, not being searched for, and decided to show him, Jason being the guild's viewpoint. In the war for territory, he won and became an officer of the guild. The first thing he did was demand that the persecution of the players be stopped. They may even get compensation. Jason has become respectable. It seems he did it for his friend. Carl offered to go get compensation, but Sean said that was not why he was there. Then she advised him not to become a dragon slayer. He himself came here for this 2 weeks ago, and he realizes that Sean was counting on a secret quest. But this is not true. Yor does his job extremely poorly. So he's leaving today. Yor is playing with the snowmen now. Let him apologize for leaving without warning. After all, he had managed to become attached to her. Sean decided not to judge Yor based on other people's words. Carl was right. Yor was playing. Yor was in the middle of her story when Sean called her. Sean said he came to become a dragon slayer. Then Yor put away the snowman and entered the role of a serious NPC. One day my mother came home badly beaten. No one living on the mountain could harm her like that. She told Yor that they could get out of here. But this did not happen in the morning. Mom had completely forgotten about the promise she had made. She started acting like a different person, and Yor began to suspect something. But Mom continued to insist that everything was fine. Then Yor said that she was content to remain living on the mountain until the end of her days. I hope Mom doesn't get hurt. And now, Sean said that there was no need to break the snowman. All children love to play. Yor was a little surprised. Then she said that basic rules of politeness dictate that one should pretend. As if he hadn't seen anything, Sean apologized and Yor said, perhaps they should continue this conversation in a more appropriate place. Her student should be waiting nearby. Sean interrupted her and said, Carl said that he was leaving and asked to ask for forgiveness. The poor thing was upset, but pretended that everything was fine. She is just a child, although she tries to act like an adult. She was upset that no one treated her like a mentor. Then she told Sean not to waste time and to leave. Sean didn't want to leave so early. Then Yor asked if he was ready to consider her his mentor, or he will treat her like a child. Action speaks louder than words. Sean addressed Yor as a mentor and sat down. Yor said she didn't mean to literally worship the child. Where is his pride? He did not hesitate for a second before bowing down. He's either a pervert or a loser. Sean replied that he didn't care whether the teacher was younger than him or not. Pride doesn't make life better. Yor asked if he was being beaten. Sean asked not to take everything so literally. Then Yor asked how many days he planned to stay here. Sean replied, about a month, Yor admitted. It's possible to become a dragon slayer in a day. It all depends on the basics. Yor brought him to some place. The stone contains 5 principles for fighting dragons. The secret of the 5 pillars in dragon language. Sean said he read something similar in a comic book. Yor didn't know what a comic was. Sean asked what she does in her free time. Yor responded, playing with the snow, and it seemed like Sean felt sorry for her. It's time to move on to the 5 pillars, the first being icy calm. The goal is to suppress those emotions that are not needed on the battlefield. Now Yor is in an icy state. Nothing can disturb her. She suggested that Sean try to scare her. Sean couldn't think of anything else to do but pull her cheeks. There was no reaction from Yor. After a short silence, Yor said, the absence of a physical reaction demonstrates the success of the skill applied. The icy calm of the masters is capable of freezing the air. The next pillar, Spider, is the ability to scan large spaces. The ability to sense vibrations of the environment. Dragon slayers can use the dragon pulse form of energy. The pulse is transmitted through the ground, determining the situation. If you concentrate, you can detect the heartbeat of the creatures. Yor can detect anyone within 100 meters radius. Next up is the Swallow. This skill is visually more attractive. It is needed to dodge the dragon's attacks. You need to bend forward and focus the dragon's bullets on the legs. Sean barely saw her. She is as fast as the Reaper. He couldn't admire it for long. Yor crashed into the mountain. It was awkward, but Yor still said it was time to move on to the mountain goat. Sean wanted to treat the wounds first, but Yor simply continued talking about the mountain goat skill. The name comes from the goat's ability to climb steep cliffs. This skill allows you to run on rocks, without falling from them, all thanks to the strength of the legs. With proper skill, you can learn to walk on water. Walking on vertical surfaces is different from walking on liquid. Yor is still a child and has not fully mastered all the techniques. She fell, but immediately got up and pretended as if nothing had happened. Yor said that this concludes the introduction to the 5 pillars. Sean asked if there was another one. Yor replied that she had not learned it. As he sees, she barely learned these. Tomorrow they will discuss training. But Yor was sure that the student would not return. She deliberately mentioned the exit point so that he would not be burdened with a formal farewell. Yor was ashamed that she had not mastered all the skills. The poor thing was lonely, but she was not angry at those who left. With these thoughts, she went to bed every night. Suddenly Sean called his mentor. He carefully brought the ointment from his world. Also comics, in case she gets bored. He wanted to check how she was doing, that's all. It's his duty as a student. In the past, my mother would ask if she weren't her mother. Would she love her? Yor asked. She is not her biological mother. And she replied, it doesn't matter, Yor still likes her. Although she has been acting strange lately. Mom called Yor sweet bun, and she said that she was the happiest. Sean spent that night in the White Mountains. Lucky it was the holidays. He was curious about what it was like to sleep in a cave. It looks like he won't want to repeat this. And Yor became interested in comics. She read it all night and wanted to know the continuation. Sean promised to bring the next chapter, and he thought, she's still little. Will he be able to learn anything? Yor said he would need 2 things, Dragon Pulse Pills and Dragon Tongue Volume. Sean won't be able to use dragon bullets until he becomes a dragon slayer. That's why pills are needed. And then there's the language of dragons. Sean asked if he could throw people back a long distance with his scream. Yor asked Sean to refrain from making ridiculous assumptions. Dragon language is a key component. To calculate the possibility of applying the 5 pillars, In other words, Sean must learn the dragon language. Sean asked if she had learned the language too. Yor replied, no, she can master the skills without the language. At that moment, Sean realized why there were so few dragon slayers. There were too many conditions for one class, and besides, Sean was worried about her. The so-called master decided not to say anything out loud. He noticed that Yor continued to look at him uneasily. She probably thought that Sean would leave like everyone else. He thought about how many had given up, and they left here with nothing, which is precisely why Sean decided to stay. He understood that his departure would upset Yor. This feeling of loneliness was familiar to him. Whether he would benefit from it remains unclear. Sean started his training with the mountain goat skill. As expected, everything is more complicated than he thought, and he had hoped to finish it in one day. Sean noticed Yor looking at him and asked Yor not to stare at him. He was embarrassed because he kept falling. After thinking for a while, Yor found a solution. Falling face down in the snow, Yor said, she fell too. Now Sean has nothing to be embarrassed about. Yor admitted that, unlike her mother, she is not naturally gifted. She can't teach him much, but she can understand what he feels, his suffering and clumsiness. She would help him become stronger. Sean was touched by her support. If he was strong and they didn't bully him anymore, she would punish them herself. But she can't leave the mountain. Sean asked her not to think about it. However, Yor asked him to share with her, and then Sean told her everything he had been through. About bullying at school, about a guy who bullies him every day, about being wanted for helping a reaper, and about how he accidentally took the sacred flame. After hearing his whole story, even Yor did not understand why Sean helped the reaper. She decided to finish her training for today. There is no point in training in such a sad mood. She decided to stay with him and cheer him up, and suggested they play family. After all, she was happiest with her family. Sean reluctantly agreed, and Yor gave him the script. And she warned him that if he played badly, she would get angry. The costumes and setting are the work of Yor's imagination. She made Sean her husband and herself her wife. Sean offered to be her father and she her daughter, but Yor refused. And so the husband returned from work, and the wife saw lipstick on his collar. Sean had a logical question: where did she get that information? The blame lies with her mother, who taught her daughter to be naughty, always adding bad guys to the story. Sean asked Yor to play it being a normal family, but Yor had already gotten into character and continued her game. She said she didn't know if it was natural shyness, or it's from bullying. She thinks he should overcome it. She believes in him. He will be able to overcome his fears. There is no need to be afraid. Only Sean was imbued with her words. As Yor asked, now let him answer whether he cheated on his wife, which again made Sean feel awkward. The strange game finally ended, but Sean did not go to bed. He was learning the language. Despite the weather, Sean went outside to practice his mountain goat skills. Let's return to the holy city. How many months have passed since the double crosses gathered? They gathered in the hall and discussed why it was so dark in the hall. One of them said the room was lit by flames. Another one suggested meeting in reality. They have a life outside of the game. But they started talking about how their agents had been neutralized. Yuki said that the boy had disappeared from the Black Castle. She wanted to offer to take care of him while he was outside. Yuki asked the blue demon to take care of this. The girl said how long this place would be considered sacred. When they no longer have a flame, they were worried that the tower was doomed to fall. The blue demon decided to go to the Black Castle. That summer, the old man first encountered the masked bandit who was being pursued for a crime she had not committed. This situation sparked his curiosity. He asked if he could lend her a helping hand, she could change. The old man set up camp around the warp gate. From now on, anyone who is unfairly accused of a crime can come to them. Besides the criminals from reality, the number of players grew larger and larger. So, there were a lot of them, and these players decided to build a city here with the money they collected. A place they could return to, where they could stand firmly on their feet. And they want Wei to become their leader, because thanks to Wei they got this place. But it seems that at the beginning Wei didn't want this. He had his own doubts. However, Nana said that if he left, everyone would be upset, including her. This is how the Black Castle was built. Smug adventurers and other players attacked, but the castle held its defense. Small guilds joined them. The reason they are attacked is the population. Most of them are criminals. Despite this, Wei loved this city and wanted to find a successor so that the castle would not be wiped off the map. A refuge for marginalized people, where they can recuperate. Or even a home. Such a place should be a Black Castle. Nana told Wei that she was sure they could handle it. Indeed, Wei has no doubt that the castle will stand forever. That's what he thought until one day a man appeared. That's how that summer would have ended. If he hadn't witnessed what happened with his own eyes, Wei would have thought he had seen a terrible nightmare. The Black Castle was in ruins. And now Khan and the lizard were walking through the ruins, and Khan asked who they were. The lizard answered, necromancers. The double crosses found them on the road. They were terribly unlucky. They have been hanging there for several days. Unexpectedly, Khan freed them. The lizard reminded them that this should not be done. But Khan didn't care. He said that if he was asked, the lizard could tell. The lizard replied that he had missed during training. as if anyone would buy that. Khan also healed them, but asked them not to talk about it, as it was not in their interests for anyone to know about it. The necromancers got scared and immediately ran away. The lizard said, "They left, and didn't even thank him." If Roxy had been here, she would have scolded him. Khan didn't care. He just asked, he hadn't seen her for a long time, "Is she okay?" The lizard replied, "I have no idea, but there is a rumor that she was held responsible for stealing the flame." The Khan said it wasn't her fault, the lizard replied. "How can you explain that to the authorities?" Suddenly Khan was told that the double crosses were calling him. There he noticed Maya and asked if she too had been summoned by the double crosses. But she didn't understand what he was talking about. The lizard then asked what she was doing here. Mayu replied, she felt Roxy's aura here. The blue demon came and said that there seemed to be more of them than there should be. He was a level 54, a double cross, and an inquisitor on the side. The lizard asked, never having seen a double cross. It was he who called them. Blue answered awkwardly. That's right. He asked Roxy for advice on who he could rely on. Khan was upset. Roxy could reach him even from a distance. While Mayu scolded the lizard for being rude to the blue one, Blue said outright that he was gathering a team to bring back the flame, and he chose them to keep him company for a couple of weeks. But Khan replied that they all regretted taking the flame away. They are in the tower for the purpose of studying sacred arts, and they are not obligated to follow orders without question. And besides, they have a real life. But Blue said he had heard that Khan was compared to the honorable. When it comes to healing skills, he is a very valuable player. Mayu interrupted him and said she came to find Roxy. He doesn't know where she is, the blue one said after a short silence. She looks at her. At first Mayu didn't understand what he meant, but then she saw blood. It seems the guys only just now noticed the coffin. Blue responded. He got a little angry and played with her a little. She was strong and made no sound as he cut away her flesh piece by piece with his scalpels. Khan could not listen to this any longer and attacked. Blue asked, he wants to show what he can do. He doesn't think he can harm him. The lizard stopped Khan and said that Blue was too tough for him. Blue talked about how pleased he was to see that the lizard was thinking. But he couldn't finish speaking. The lizard tore his head off. Blood splattered upwards, and the lizard called the blue one a weakling. Mayu shouted, this is the murder of a superior. The lizard replied, screw it, he's leaving, there's no flame anyway. Suddenly the blue demon's voice sounded again. There is no need to leave. This time he will turn a blind eye to his mistake. And now, where they left off, the blue demon calmly healed his head. And he said that of course he wouldn't drag them by force. He could always go with Roxy. Han couldn't understand how the blue one regenerated. And then the threats began. The blue one said that if he gets bored along the way, he might kill Roxy. And she is responsible, so she will not give up her business. She will become a wonderful toy for torture, and there will be no one to stop him. They have time until tomorrow. Let them notify him at noon if they change their mind. When he left, Mayu suggested telling Roxy to stay offline. But it's not that simple. The officers are actually employed employees of the guild. It is obvious that the administration knows personal information about her moreover. Khan didn't finish the sentence, but they were all completely screwed. One day, the game master told Yor that her mother would never return. Starting tomorrow, Yor will be the one who will train the dragon slayers. Mom kept running away and they considered her a dangerous element. Yor asked what he was talking about, what was wrong with Mom, who he was. The game master replied that he was the shepherd of these lands, and that he had to keep an eye on the sheep so they wouldn't run away. There were two reasons why Sean learned most of the pillars in less than a week. Firstly, he knew how to prioritize. He learned the dragon language at school. The teachers didn't bother him, because Sean did well in class, you can't say. Since he wasn't distracted, the assholes apparently had nothing better to do, so they pestered Sean. They tried to make a scandal out of nothing, but Sean didn't react to his stupid mockery. Then the guy tore up the piece of paper to get at least some kind of reaction. He has a sad life. To bully someone day after day in order to feel complete. Sean silently asked Yor for forgiveness. He thought he should answer, especially after what she said. Secondly, Sean had natural talent. He not only learned the language in a couple of weeks, but he was able to learn to speak it. But he has no one to talk to. Because Yor didn't know this language, Sean climbed the mountain with the help of a mountain goat. On foot, it would take him forever to get here. But with the skill of a mountain goat, it would take him a couple of minutes. Yor began to praise Sean, and of course he was pleased. But then Yor remembered that she herself had not yet fully mastered the mountain goat. And once again she fell into despair. Then it was time for Sean to cheer her up. Yor hated being treated like a child, but she was one anyway. She talked about games and so on, and Sean thought, as he was supposed to treat her like an adult, Sean still played along. After all, Yor was a child and she wanted to play. And now that she's not alone, she can play all the games she wants. Getting into character, Yor used the mountain goat's rock climbing skill. Sean yelled when she learned to do that. Yor explained that it wasn't a difficult trick at all, Sean shouted. But he's so cool, he wants to learn too. Yor learned this through her knowledge of skills, which she combined with comic book tricks. Sean was impressed and called Yor a genius. But Yor said that there was nothing special about it. Her mother did it better. Sean replied that he had brought something with him that might make her happy. He gave her a toy. Yor asked what it was. Sean replied that he got it from the fairy princess in his world. She told him to give the staff to a worthy girl with a kind and brave heart. Yor bought into Sean's story. She believed that she was the chosen one. Then she said that she should give something in return. Sean said no, but Yor replied that her mother told her that if you don't give anything in return, you will become a greedy freak. She gave away the decoration that her mother made her. Sean didn't want to take it because it was a gift from her mother. But Yor said that rewarding your student is normal practice. Then Sean accepted her gift. Yor said that it would suit him. The next day, the guys still came, and Roxy was very ashamed. She apologized and said she should have kept her mouth shut, but Khan told her not to worry about it. The lizard thought so too. He said they wouldn't have come if she were a bastard. Maybe consider it karma for treating them well, although it's not to say that there isn't a piece of shit among them. Blue said it hurt his feelings and Mayu came running to them. She felt that she could not stay behind. But Khan was against it. He shouted that this was not a picnic for her. Here the blue one said, her concern for her comrades is touching. It's always nice to have a reliable and respectable person in your ranks. But Roxy put in her 2 cents. She explained that Mayu lacked the resolve to attack other players because of the injury received. But the blue one interrupted her and said, if her respected colleagues hadn't come, he would have torn her head off. Fears are given to be overcome. Because of this character, she has problems in college. A stupid game that takes players hostage. The lizard asked if they would go straight to the castle. Blue replied, no fool would hide such an important person in an obvious place. They will most likely try to invest in him to make him stronger. In other words, there is a high chance of meeting him with an NPC who changes classes, and only when he feels that enough time has passed. It will seem safe for him to return to the castle. Blue spoke like a true predator. I timed it to the time when Sean had finished his preparation. It's time to take the Dragon Slayer test. These caves were built by Dragon Slayers. When the incense begins to burn, the scent that envelops it will create a powerful hallucination. Sean will have to give in to it. Be calm until it ends. Only after this will he reach the peak of icy calm and be reborn as a Dragon Slayer. Yor lit the matches and smoke enveloped Sean. The hallucinations began. People who came to become Dragon Slayers were angry that they were being taught by a child. They complained that they had nothing to learn here. Yor herself didn't want this. She knew that her mother was better. She didn't know what to teach people. All she wanted was, return home and see that mom is back. A good attitude, laughter, and a smile can help you overcome difficulties. That's what mom said. But Yor didn't understand how that was supposed to help. And yet she continued to smile. The thick, blinding smoke obscured Sean's view. Soon he will experience these feelings again. The injustice, the despair, fear and horror. He had been facing this all his life. All significant and minor moments of shame and humiliation. The very ones that keep you awake at night. When all these emotions appeared before him at once, Sean could only bear it for a moment. Sean screamed. Yor wondered what had happened. Usually this phase takes about a minute. She tried to wake Sean from a nightmare. She was next to him and asked him to breathe deeply and slowly. It looks like Sean will have a harder time passing the test. After all, he has a lot of difficult memories. That's why Yor decided to support him, her mother told her. That hugging lowers blood pressure and reduces stress levels. But Sean refused. He said that he already felt better. Yor replied, I understand. But the ritual should still be repeated. Sean lost faith in his own strength. Yes, he easily mastered the pillars. But what appeared before him plunged him into despondency. He didn't know where to start. It seemed impossible to pass this test. Sean started to burden himself with bad thoughts again. He tried to reassure Yor that he was okay, but she still had doubts. After all, his gloomy appearance suggests otherwise. It's as if he's ready to resort to self-murder. Sean insisted that things weren't that bad, so Yor asked if he could stay. She wants to show something. Sean wasn't sure, but he agreed. Late at night, Yor told Sean to use the spider to determine his surroundings. They came to the Yeti's lair. Yor asked if he was no longer afraid of the Yeti. Sean replied that they used to scare the crap out of him. And now they remind us of fluffy shepherd dogs. At this hour they are dozing, and therefore will not come near them. But then Yor heard a noise and decided that the Yetis were fighting. For the sake of the children's audience, we'll skip this point. Yor, of course, didn't understand anything, and decided that they were fighting. And she was determined to stop them. Sean asked her not to do it and just leave, but Yor said, Yeti friends, you can't abandon your friends in trouble. Having missed a couple of chances, Yor was still able to achieve her goal. The main thing is that the child didn't understand anything. Sean said that it was dangerous. But Yor repeated that Yetis are friends. Then Sean said, he would have attacked them if they had attacked Yor. To him, they are just monsters, nothing more than enemies. There's probably a lot he still doesn't know. Yor remained silent. Finally, they came out of the cave and saw the starry sky. During mating season, the snow moth circles the Yeti's lair. Males spread shiny dust with their wings. For them, they appear as flickering dots in the sky. Her mother told her this. She had originally planned to visit this place. When he became a dragon slayer, Sean said he was ashamed. It was the easiest part of the test, and he cried like a baby. Yor asked what was wrong with crying. Men are proud of strange things. Holding back tears, using harsh words to appear stern. All feelings are important. There is no shame in tears. She is glad that he failed the test. After all, he will leave as soon as he becomes a dragon slayer. She will not forget this month. Sean promised to visit her even after he finished his studies. Or maybe she can travel with him. Where would she like to go? Sean asked. Yor replied that she would like to visit his world and write a book about that world. The stories of their ancestors live on in them through the text. That's why she wants to capture her experience for posterity. Sean was confident that the book would sell superbly. After all, Yor is amazing. Yor said that this month will be a prologue, and her student will become part of it. In fact, the things he said on the way here. It wasn't just the Yeti that was affected. There was a time when Sean thought all NPCs were the same, that they blindly follow the rules without knowing why. It was time to try again. They returned to the cave, and the test began. All the negative feelings came back to Sean's head. He said he was willing to repeat the test, but to be honest, he wasn't sure. Sean kept wondering if he could handle this. He was worried that he would never be able to become a dragon slayer. But when Yor took his hand, he felt a little better. He was able to calm his thoughts and immerse himself in his memories. The warm touch on my fingertips dispelled all worries and fears. Calm will replace chaos, leaving only steely determination. It was as if all the feelings that had just overcome him had ceased to matter. This is what icy calm is, taking control of your emotions. Nothing can influence the mind. Finally, after a month, Sean acquired the Dragon Slayer class. Sean thanked Yor because he passed the test thanks to Yor. Icy calm changes a person. Yor said that Sean looked more impressive than usual. Sean instantly lost his icy calm and asked, "Really?" He became himself again, an awkward boy. Yor said that a simple compliment made it go away. He should continue training. Now Yor won't be there to guide him. It's time to leave the cave to prepare for the last day. The first student of Yor who was able to achieve the goal. Yor started writing her book. The last day of the student Yor's stay on the mountain. For this occasion, Yor decided to prepare a special dish. Sean wanted to buy some treats, but Yor asked, "There's no going anywhere today." After trying the dish, Sean praised it. Yor just stared at Sean. He asked her to stop, and also eat with him. But Yor wanted to imprint this scene in her memory. Afterwards, Sean left behind the comics and other junk. It was time to say goodbye, and it was difficult for the little girl. She used icy calm. To ease the pain, she told Sean that she was used to being alone. In time, she will get over his departure. She regrets that she cannot say goodbye with a smile. Then Sean pulled her cheeks again and said, "There is no need to force yourself. He likes her the way she is." Sean tried to cheer her up, but it didn't work. It was hard for the little girl to say goodbye to her friend, Sean recalled. How Yor couldn't sleep at night. She was afraid that if she woke up from her sleep, Sean would not be there. Yor believed that she could never help a student become a dragon slayer. If Mom were here, she would definitely boast about Sean to her. Sean asked what Yor's mother was like. She replied that her mother always smiled. She was incredibly strong. Under her mentorship, Sean would have been 3 times stronger. Sean said that even if he had the chance to start training over again, he would still choose Yor. This compliment made the little girl feel embarrassed. And so it was goodbye. Sean asked his mentor to take care of herself. Yor also wished him to take care of himself. Sean walked forward, each step seeming unbearably heavy. Suddenly, Yor grabbed him by the sweatshirt. She couldn't stand to watch her friend disappear. She was afraid that if Sean left now, then she will never see him again. Sean promised again that they would see each other again. Then Yor said, "Mom left and never came back." She knows Sean isn't lying, but watching him leave hurts. Sean wondered how he could have failed to see the obvious. The child lives alone in the middle of the mountains, and it's very hard for her. Why did he decide that everything would be okay with her because she is an NPC? He decided that she was used to this situation. Then Sean invited Yor to go with him. The city he's going to is in ruins, but it's better than being alone. Yor said she couldn't leave the mountain. It is her duty to train new dragon slayers here. Sean said he wasn't clear what she meant by debt. He asked if Yor was happy here. Yor realized the answer was no, so she asked what if he died protecting her. Sean replied that players don't die in the game, no matter how many times he has to die. If she is tired of this place, she can go with him. Yor asked what if she started bothering him. If Yor gets scared of new places, even though she wanted to see them, and will constantly ask him for help. Sean replied that he could ask for as much as he wanted. Then Yor said it was decided and suggested racing. The first one down will be the winner. Just as Sean was about to say that it sounded funny, someone else said it for him. The sky was torn apart by a game master. He asked if he could join their race. He came out and greeted Yor, who was terrified. GM asked what she was surprised about, for people like them. Breaking through the fabric of space is a simple task. So Yor wants to leave the mountain, didn't he tell her? There is no game event called Yor Leaves the Mountain. Has she really forgotten what happened to her mother? Suddenly Attention shifted to Sean. The hero who overthrew the Reaper. It was the GM who removed his corpse from the ship. Sean asked if they knew each other, and he replied, He came from the far corners of the solar system to fulfill the role of Game Master. Sean was so shocked when he heard the word, After all, he believed that the GM would be humanoid, but in front of him is another creature from another world. Sean decided that GM was simply hiding his identity. GM said he heard Sean suggesting that Yor come down from the mountains. I regret to inform you that this will not happen. He can leave himself. If Yor leaves, then there will be a bug. Without her, there will be no next Dragon Slayers. She was created for this. It's strange. Why then make an NPC with feelings and consciousness? Sean asked. He understood what he wanted to say. But does she really need to play the role of an NPC? There is no reason to stay here alone. She can teach players anywhere. Interrupting, asked Sean. Sean became attached to her. But is Sean ready to risk his life? Sean understands that when he speaks to kill, he means death literally, that is forever. This is not supposed to happen, but players often disappear without a trace in the game. Sean will have to make a difficult choice. Suddenly Yor told him that everything was fine. She had made a mistake. Even knowing it was impossible, she allowed hope to cloud her mind. Yor will stay here. Sean didn't know what to answer. But he still wanted to take Yor. Then GM said, there was someone like Sean who also tried to take Yor away from here. Then he erased the very fact of her existence. It was Mama Yor, the GM said heartlessly. Yor was a hostage of this place. She was given consciousness, imagination, and dreams, but deprived of the opportunity to realize them. Yor was alone not because it was meant to be. Then Sean remembered the stories about how Mama Yor disappeared. Now Sean knows the truth. Her mother didn't disappear as part of a quest. This creature killed her to trap Yor here forever. Before Sean could say anything, Yor left. But Sean didn't let her go. Asked. Sean thinks he's making jokes here. Sean replied that he had no desire to die because of the game. He plays for fun, even though he thought about it. He did not take any serious steps to end his life. No matter how hard life is, there are good moments in it. He has a feeling that if he lets go of his hand now... Sean didn't finish the sentence. He picked up Yor and ran away. Yor screamed for Sean to let her go, but Sean refused. He didn't want to leave her there. They couldn't run far. Tentacles appeared in front of them. GM said, maybe Sean didn't take his words seriously. It seems like he has no face, but he will hit it in the dirt, letting it go. If Sean insists on his own, then he will have to go against him. And one more thing, but that doesn't mean he's immortal. He too can truly die in this world. Before he could finish speaking, Yor cut off his tentacle. Yor was ready to condemn herself to eternal imprisonment. Her student is another matter. The one who dies today will be GM. GM replied, she learned to be cheeky in his absence. It's a pity. He's not known for his particular good nature, but even he finds it unpleasant to do this. To condemn a child to the fate that befell her parents. GM attacked Sean and shouted, don't yawn. Otherwise, Sean will be caught in the grip of his hands. It would be more correct to say tentacles. Sean dodged as best he could. Then asked. Sean forgot his words. If he dies here, it will be forever. Yor attacked the GM again and cut off another tentacle. Then he said strangely, Yor became stronger. Yor replied that it was all because his life was at stake. Using the mountain goat skill, she hit the GM and sent the GM on a long flight. Sean began to admire her, but Yor told him to remain vigilant. There's no way Mom could lose to such a bland opponent. Soon he attacks again. The smoke cleared, but was not there. Sean immediately used the spider skill. He searched for the GM all over the mountain and noticed him next to Yor. GM attacked Yor, but she managed to dodge. He was very close, he complained. That Dragon Slayers have annoying skills. Before he could finish speaking, Sean attacked him, but was able to grab Sean and said, Sean hit surprisingly weakly. The damage from the kick was negligible. He was going to hold Sean back, to focus on Yor. But then Sean took out his sword and attacked with it. It didn't seem to work. The hit was good. But the GM has no level, which means this sword is useless. GM wanted to attack Sean, but Yor attacked with a mountain goat. She even cut through half the mountain, and it fell to the ground. Sean wanted to ask if they killed him, but Yor shouted to be silent. The bad guys always stand up when the heroes say they've beaten him. Sean considered his death suspicious. He said that they should be more careful. Sean exhaled and said that Yor could go with him. Yor didn't answer, but she was glad. But the happiness did not last long. Rose again, and he asked where his head was. The little ones would answer for this. So that's how they feel about being bald. Increase their tentacle. And he shouted, let's play whack-a-mole. It is still unclear how the GM did it, whether it is possible to kill him at all. Suddenly he is invincible. Like the GM in other games, Yor was not next to Sean. But Sean relied on her throughout the fight. But there's no point in thinking about that now. I need to get myself together. He doesn't have the strength to hurt him, so Sean could be bait. He decided to provide Yor with a happy future. GM shouted, why such reckless maneuvers? So desperate to die, Sean climbed onto his tentacle. Sean used a mountain goat to stay on the tentacle. And quickly approaching, Sean drew his sword again. GM gloated, because the sword was ineffective against him. But Sean didn't intend to attack. He scorched the cut. GM screamed, how can he regenerate now? Why did he do this to him? He is his fan. While he was screaming, Yor attacked with a swallow blade. She cut it into several pieces. Sean said she did it when suddenly it jammed. Yor rushed to him and asked if he was okay. Sean replied, okay, broke a couple of ribs. Yor said that if Sean died, she would regret it until the end of time. They hoped that the GM would not get up again. Even if they can, in this state he will not pose a threat. Yor said they would have won if Yor had fought one-on-one. She wouldn't have been able to find the right moment to strike hard. The enemy was defeated thanks to the efforts of the student. What he wanted to get from Yor, Sean replied that he could demand from the child. Yor was unhappy with this speech. Suddenly she said, come to think of it, she forgot to take something with her. The book she wanted to finish. Just as Sean agreed, the GM returned. Sean immediately pulled Yor towards him and said, someday Yor will surpass his mother. But she's not his equal yet. Sean asked how that was possible. He saw how she cut him into pieces. The body is still there, Sean asked. Is it a clone? GM replied that, unlike clones, the loss of these copies affects his condition. You could say that they are all part of him. Yor and Sean saw how many GM appeared. They felt horror. Now it's clear how they monitor all the NPCs in the game. They killed one in 128,000 copies. Then the boys felt complete despair. It was hard to kill one GM, but here there are more than 100,000 of them. There seems to be no chance of winning. Sean barely managed to stay in one piece when the GM was alone. And now, when there are hundreds and thousands of them, attacked Sean. Yor saved him again by cutting off the tentacles. She shouted at him that he had to pull himself together. But Sean asked if they could win this time. Yor replied that the comic book heroes fought until the very end. That's why Yor won't give up either. Suddenly GM said, it's all because nothing else was intended. Every fictional story is structured according to the same principle. Writers provide a place where the reader can escape from the harsh reality, allowing the protagonists to defeat their enemies with such foolish things as friendship and bravery. Sean knows this painfully well. He only won because of luck. But what can he do in front of a really strong enemy? Sean's face sank again, but then Yor shouted. She didn't let the student get hurt, didn't let the GM insult Sean. The clones discussed how it was the first time they had seen Yor so energetic. Looks just like her mother, just like when she screamed, and she threatened to find a way to get Yor out of here. Although she didn't give birth to Yor, it's a game after all. For some reason, GM keeps saying that Yor is not a real person. It turns out that Yor didn't know this, and she was forbidden to talk about it. A tentacle came out of the ground and killed Sean. But he will be reborn, but Yor will not. GM attacked little Yor in front of Sean. And this whole situation was just funny. Another GM will move their bodies, so he lied. Having said that she would kill them, Yor said what a relief, that he won't have to die. But Sean told himself to get up, but he couldn't even lift a finger. Yor asked Sean to lie down next to her for a while. She wants to tell Sean something. Before, when her mother was around, Yor would often lie down and watch the snow fall. Sean said it felt like she was going to die. But Yor knew that there was no one to replace her. They only intimidated her. And so it was. Yor recalled their first meeting. That time, Yor had no illusions about him. She thought he would leave her within a couple of days. But he turned out to be the first one who treated Yor like a real master. Even though he knew how small Yor was, he is amazing. If he had a different mentor, he would have become a warrior. Let him always look his interlocutor in the eyes. She gave Sean some more advice. Finally, she asked if he liked Yor as a teacher. Sean answered, of course. Yor smiled and asked, can he take her hand? Holding each other's hand, they fell asleep. On the day they spoke, Sean shared that he would like to go to university. But Yor asked what memory would make him smile one last time on his deathbed. Sean only promised to think about it, Yor said, and she already has one. That day, Sean skipped school and stayed in his room all day. He was all on edge, even though Yor hadn't been killed. When he returned, he would see her again. But the anxiety did not subside. Clenching everything inside him into a tight knot, Sean returned to the game. But the anxiety did not go away. He could not explain this feeling. Sean entered the cave and called for Yor, but no one answered. Suddenly someone touched him. It was Yor. Sean was just glad that she was okay. As Yor screamed, it seemed like her entire personality had been changed. She kept talking and talking. The Yor that Sean knew is no more. New Yor sensed that Sean was a dragon slayer, and she asked who taught him. Yor doesn't remember anything. Did this. Apparently her memories were getting in the way. But this is too much. On the other hand, it's better this way than losing her forever. Sean still tried to get his Yor back. He told how she trained him for a month, but Yor said she didn't know him. Sean's spirits sank, but then he remembered something. He put Yor's gift on, hoping she would remember him. Sean said she said her mom made it for her, but Yor only laughed in response. There seems to be no chance that Yor will return. Suddenly Yor said that she had exactly the same trinket, while Yor talked about the decoration as if it were nonsense. Then Sean asked who she was. Yor replied that she was an orphan and had lived here since infancy, and that the Yetis were looking after her. She learned to speak from travelers, and the class she teaches learned it from books. She likes trinkets and doesn't like reading. Sean said he thought he mistook her for someone else. Yor replied, of course she would never forget him. Sean couldn't stand being around her anymore and left. This is what it's like to stumble upon the gates of hell. Despair filled him, and Sean could no longer walk. And then he noticed Yor's small, snow-covered body. Yor lay in the snowdrifts, as if she were simply sleeping. Her wounds were no longer bleeding. She was very light. It was as if the weight of life had left her body. The whole scene was so surreal. Corpses disappear automatically after some time. Still, killed Yor. She will not come back. Sean will never be able to talk to her again. He remembered telling Yor that she could go with him, and he got angry and began to blame himself for her death. He screamed madly at himself and beat himself on the ground. Despair will not bring back the dead. Then he remembered that Yor was writing a book, but as Sean feared, the book was gone. Moreover, most of the things also disappeared. That hairpin remained only because it began to belong to him. Novaya Yor went into her room and started shouting at him about what he was doing there. This offended Sean, because this Yor had the same appearance and voice. No one will ever understand that the real Yor is dead. They won't care anyway. NPC death is not a problem for them. Sean apologized for the intrusion and promised not to return. Suddenly Yor told him that he could hug her. After all, he looks very sad, and she heard that hugs help. Sean froze and started mumbling again that he didn't need it, but suddenly Sean started crying. In the end, he gave in. Hugging Yor, he felt the warmth of the embrace. She's alive. Sean told Yor that she would have to face injustice. It will be difficult for her to cope with this alone. She may want to escape, but the world won't let her go that easily. If she holds on, one day she will find freedom. The day will come when she will find her happiness. After saying goodbye to her, Sean left, remembering how his friends asked him why he played. Now he has a reason. He is going to kill GM. Even if the reason seems funny to many, he doesn't care. He will kill this bastard, no matter what it costs him. The first day, Sky Mama Yor told Will that she was back. She decided to feed him, even though she had chained him herself. Sky is one of the most powerful NPCs in the cage. Due to loneliness, she tends to show aggressive care. That's why nowadays it's rare for any player to come to her. The only student left with her is Will. When she chained him, he tried to run away, but she caught him. With her dexterity and ardor, it was impossible to escape from her. Each time after being caught, she would cling to him and pour out her emotional experiences. Only at that moment did he realize what a mess he was in. Sky, out of desperation, tried to kill herself. Of course it didn't work, Will suddenly asked. She always had a daughter. Sky looked at him in surprise. It was our Yor, with an emotionless face and strange speech. She asked who this wolf was. He didn't look trustworthy. Yor called Will a criminal and started kicking him. Sky started talking chaotically. This is a misunderstanding. This girl is not her daughter, Will replied. They are as alike as two peas in a pod. Yor became sad, and Will scolded Sky, saying that she was offended. She believed that Sky was her mother. Then Sky said that since she was her mother, that meant Will was her father. The next day, they noticed how Yor skillfully used the dragon slay skills. She said she learned it from her mother, but Sky didn't remember it. Will suggested that Yor was a gift for Sky. Considering her unstable condition, he is proof of this. Sky doubted that she could have been given a gift. It contains fake memories. Sky wondered how she could be a mother if she didn't feel anything for her. Does she have the right to do this? But a couple of days later, she was released. After that, Sky's world changed forever. She began to smile more often, and overall she became less tense. She no longer tried to commit suicide, making life easier. Villa was released. She just didn't want to be a bad influence on her daughter. One day, Yor asked about her father, and Sky made up a story on the spot. She couldn't say that Yor had appeared out of nowhere. Sky asked if it was hard to be a good parent. Will replied that when he adopted his daughter, she was already quite old. After some time, Will became a dragon slayer and left. The daughter, apparently, had become attached to him. Sky wanted to leave here with her daughter, but she knew that this world would never allow them to leave this place. Will made a big name for himself, and even more students were drawn to her. The new arrivals made her daughter think. What lay beyond the mountains, Sky could not answer her directly. Sky's heart broke at the knowledge that the little girl would have to suffer just like her. GM said he hoped the gift he sent would calm her down. If he continues to make mistakes, he will have to get rid of her. Sky replied that he gave her free will and knowledge, but he himself reproaches her for it. That she takes advantage of this. She knows that there are others like her, but he is not given this. He is just a maniac who wants to keep his collection to himself. It seems this struck a chord with, a completely unequal fight. She died after 70,000 deaths, huh? It actually poses a real threat. He gave her one last chance, one more time, and he would erase her. Sky thought she should tell Yor, there are things that can't be changed. Telling the truth means ruining everything. It would be better to tell her to stop thinking about this nonsense. And she began to live happily with her. But looking into the baby's eyes, she said they would be able to get out of here soon. Where would she like to go first? She wrote a letter. Not everyone will be able to read the letter. It's in dragon language, if she understands these lines. So she is Sky. Maybe her backstory will be different from hers. Sky wrote a letter for her new copy in case she was killed. She was afraid that GM would find out about this letter, so she hid it. The only thing she asked of her new copy was that it would take care of their daughter. After some time, Will asked Yor to return home. The adults needed to talk. Yor didn't want it, but she left. GM asked if he wasn't going to take her with him. Will replied that his child was enough for him. He just wanted to lure the GM out. Said caught he remembers him. Will is her best creation. Wanting revenge, Will replied he came to fight her, but heard that she was missing. How many Sky managed to finish off if she kills more? So he was stronger than her. Will was level 60. In this battle, the wolf killed more than 90,000 spears. GM was surprised that Will was so strong and suggested moving. Meanwhile, Nana and the others were riding into the thicket. The Reaper asked if Nana planned to continue avoiding her. He doesn't like her, Nana replied. It's better to sit at a distance. Inside the bowl is quite ordinary. The bartender said that's what scares him the most. Nana added that even the monsters here are strangely distributed. Both the 1st and the 100th are in one place. Then the Reaper will go alone. They gave advice to the Reaper, but she didn't care. The Reaper said she had seen everything in her life. But in the end, everything turned out not to be so dangerous. The guys disappeared. After a long walk, she found herself near something. They seemed disgusting to her. Suddenly someone shouted, "Let's make a world for children. He will tear off the adults' legs, and then they will become the same height as children." Level 65 monster, monsters from fairy tales. Even the Reaper thought he was crazy, so she hid when suddenly, the creepy Pinocchio appeared right in front of her. The Reaper didn't even notice his approach. The creepy Pinocchio was even stronger, level 70, and he needs human skin to become a real boy. Luckily, he didn't like her blue skin. For some reason, this scarecrow followed him. She decided to make contact and said that she was lost. "Maybe he can tell me how to get out of the forest," Pinocchio replied. He himself is not very well oriented, but he knows how to find a way out. When Pinocchio lies, his nose grows. When he tells the truth, it shortens. The one who has the ability to change class is located to the east, west of here, which means they need to go west. Pinocchio himself used this ability to find out something. "Let's get back to the fanatics," the blue one said. They combed through the rows but found nothing. Khan asked if they had examined everything, and what about the dragon slays and hunters? But Mayu was sure that Sean was not there. Blue was upset that he was not accepted into the company. They avoided him as best they could, and Mayu, who was polite, became his victim. He chatted non-stop, which irritated her to no end, because he was talking about terrible things. So Roxy advised the blue one to find another way to win their favor. Then the blue one decided to give them gifts. But that didn't work either, so the blue one offered to send them money. Bingo, money is the main way to the heart. And so, they went to the Black Castle. Naturally, the atmosphere was tense. Nana screamed at how they had the nerve to come here. Blue replied that he had nothing to do with it. He is an outcast even among the doubles, so he does not know who destroyed the city. In any case, you shouldn't try to reveal this secret to him. This little trick is called the Scales of Truth. He will ask a few questions if he lies, and he will grind this city into dust. Wei did not understand this. Blue said he was joking, but no one got it. Wei replied that he knew they would come, so he sent those two to places where even he cannot stand to be. If they have managed to gain experience, everything will become much more interesting. Finally, the Reaper found what she was looking for. The NPC said that a child appeared who would become her follower. Her arrival made her happy. It will break her spine, to infuse the seed of the mother's blood into it. The Reaper didn't like this, because it would hurt like hell. But she agreed. There is only one thing worse than pain for a Reaper. To become an easy target, the group sat around the fire under the starry sky. Lewis, Bard class, level 26. A couple who escaped reality to be together. And our hero, he said that he was going to the Black Castle. Since the castle is known for criminals, the girls were scared. Sean said he didn't commit any crimes. After listening to their stories, the bard decided to sing. But before that, he suggested trying some grass. It grows in a creepy thicket and evokes images of the future. Sean asked if it was the same as hallucinations. Anna wasn't sure because it felt like a drug. And her girlfriend didn't mind, Lewis replied. That he himself had never used it, and he was interested. Why don't they all try it together? What would have happened if they had made different decisions? Sean found himself in a church, and Isla told him not to fall asleep. They have a meeting, a creepy voice said. Let him sleep if he wants. He will tell him the results of the meeting later. Sean, like Jason, became an officer of the Viewpoint Guild. Then he didn't save the Reaper. Jason found him and recruited him into the guild. He quickly moved up the ranks, having demonstrated outstanding results in battles. His class is Druid. He met a friendly girl. Sean was congratulated on his first meeting as an officer, and he felt awkward being addressed as you. In reality, it seems he remained a failure. Isla said that Sean was lucky to have achieved such heights, although he was still a schoolboy. Sean told her that she was amazing and popular. Sean seems to have a good relationship with the guild members. No one pursued him or threatened him. He found friends. These were the first friends he had made since leaving the island. Soon after, Sean celebrated his first birthday. Sean looked at them awkwardly and Isla asked what was wrong. He replied that his birthday was tomorrow. Isla first played shocked, then said that they knew. Jason didn't come because he doesn't like parties, but he left a gift. Sabrina knitted Sean a sweater. Sean tried to remember who she was. This is Sabrina, his partner in the guild. They spend a lot of time together. Ayla said she and Will had something else prepared. From tomorrow, everything will change. They have dealt with this problem. You can always bribe the school board or even buy a lawyer. They may be rich, but they are still kids. Sean started crying and Isla asked how much they had hurt him. Is everything okay with him? Sean replied. Simply yes. He doesn't deserve this, because he played to escape from reality. But he met so many wonderful people. He is happy. It was Sean who was happy. He was no fool to lend a helping hand to the enemy. And he didn't have to suffer from the loss of a loved one. It was good that it was just an illusion. Anna held her breath. Lewis had the antidote, and with him were players from the Virus Guild. It seems that Anna made the right life decisions, since her visions seemed terrible to her. Everyone sees different images. Anna shouted what he wants from her. Lewis replied that he will sell her. But you need to leave her alive, otherwise she will automatically leave the game. There is a skill that can freeze a person alive. It is standard practice. Anna screamed at the freaks not to dare touch Haley, and the player laughed at them for trusting a stranger. He wanted to rape the girls before freezing them, but his vile plans were not destined to come true. Sean woke up and stuck his fingers into the monster's eyes, and he died immediately. Then Sean looked at Lewis and said, "That was a very mean thing to do on his part." Lewis winced at the look in his eyes, wondering why Sean looked so fine. In theory, Sean can barely walk in his current state. Sean has a skill that allows him to control his mind. Lewis wanted to attack with his partner, but Sean was faster. He immediately got rid of the tank and said, he sees what Lewis is using the drug for because he is terribly weak. Sean told him to lie down on his stomach. Even in this state, Lewis tried to threaten. He said that all his clients were big shots. Among them are also respectable ones, including members of the 3 strongest guilds, if something happens to him. Sean interrupted him and said that no one would worry about a weakling who lost to a schoolboy. He believes Lewis would be better off taking his deeds to the grave. Sean used the reverse mountain goat. The screams and crunching of bones no longer bothered Sean. He said that it still didn't work correctly on people. On the other hand, he feels something. Maybe he needs more practice. Sean calmly tore Lewis's head off, and he threw it to the side. The head rolled towards Anna and she began to scream in fear. Sean, who was still in a state of icy calm, told her to shut up. She makes noise, thinking that he arranged everything, and then the icy calm disappeared, and Sean himself became scared of what he had done. In the morning, Anna told Haley what happened last night. Haley asked how the boy managed to cope with the hallucinations. Anna replied that she didn't know herself. He said that they also influenced him, but a little. It's just that these visions were insignificant for him. Still, it was all a what-if story. Sean's mentor was a little girl with a steely character, and the strong will, trapped in an unsuitable child's body, meant that such a little girl could teach others. At first it was hard to wrap his head around, but he quickly realized that he was in virtual reality, and this girl is just an NPC, and nothing more, a dragon slayer, a class whose representatives, according to the game's concept, are dragon hunters, and the sciences that fight fire-breathing lizards. But due to her young age, Yor turned out to be weaker than other NPCs. Therefore, there were almost no people willing to study under her guidance. If you think about it, Sean and Yor were more fooling around and having fun. Over time, memories fade, but sometimes they surface and, like a beautiful dream, bring a smile. Even now, when he closes his eyes, Sean can't help but smile, recalling those days in his memory. But this smile was full of bitterness. The 2 players were loudly arguing with each other. Sebastian, level 17, shouted that if they ran into bad guys, they might not kill them, but they would torture them pretty badly. The young master must understand that it is dangerous here. He should not have let their guards go. Johan, level 15, said they were bothering him. He would soon be moving to high school, and as the successor to the Johan group, he will be forever busy with various things. He will no longer have free time, just to play, so he planned to have a blast at the end. Go on a trip, meet friends, but these thugs followed them as if glued to them. Even if the monsters attack, the guards will deal with them themselves, so he sent them away, so the adventure will become more lively. Sebastian had to come to terms with his capricious master. He offered to die in order to return home. But Johan shouted that he didn't want to. Sebastian explained that it was dangerous here, and something bad could happen to him. The 2 didn't even notice how they were attacked. The voice asked, "What are they doing? Walking around in an open field without security, like children who foolishly wandered into the slums. Now they themselves have refused protection, but before they were accompanied by respectable people.